Chapter 185. Shan Yang's mouth was full of blood. He looked at Lin Yu in horror. No wonder Han Bin couldn't take him down. This kid's aura was only at the transcendent realm 1 yang. How could he be so strong? That black fire burned his yang aura. How could it be ordinary yang aura? Shun Yinran heard it and immediately shouted to the other female disciples, senior and junior sisters, "This person insulted my husband. Please help me kill him." Yao Ge immediately came to Lin Yu's side. The invincible realm's cold aura exploded, forming a pressure. "Who dares to come up?" Yao Ge said coldly. Only then did Green Grass know that Yao Ge was so strong. Invincible realm expert. That was the height of Jiuxing Mountain. Green Grass finally understood. No wonder Yao Ji's expression didn't change at all when she heard about Jiuxing Mountain's achievements. The disciples of Cold Moon Palace looked over with fear. The guests also stayed away from Lin Yu and Shun Yanran because of their battle prowess. Lin Yu looked at Shun Yanran and said calmly, "I injured your beloved husband. You don't dare to take revenge on me?" This sentence was provocative, and it directly entered Shun Yanran's ears. The latter's heart tightened. After seeing Lin Yu's strength, she had a budding fear in her heart. The other female disciples surrounded Lin Yu, but she didn't dare to move. "You think too highly of yourself. You think that Shang Yang is a dragon among men and can crush green grass. But in my opinion, the two of you are just SOSO. Lin Yu's gaze was condescending, and his arrogant voice echoed in the main hall. He raised 2 fingers and pointed. "Since you don't dare to help Shang Yang, your husband is useless even if he doesn't die." Lin Yu's 2 fingers formed a sword. Suddenly, sword aura condensed, and it was directed towards Shang Yang's direction. "Bitch, what are you hesitating for?" Shang Yang felt a sense of crisis. His face suddenly turned ferocious, and his usual gentle appearance disappeared. He instinctively grabbed Shin Yinran's wrist and pulled her in front of him, blocking the sword for him. Shang Yang had never imagined that Cold Moon Woman Palace's people would be scared off by Lin Yu's words. This Shin Yinran was the same, completely useless. Now that things had come to this, it was more important to stay alive. But Shin Yinran was even more desperate. At this moment, her face was as pale as a sheet of paper. She had never thought that the 7th son of the raging fire, who was in high spirits in everyone's eyes, the young Master Shang Yang, who had once pledged his undying love to her, would actually use her as a shield. "You bastard!" Shin Yinran shouted angrily. Seeing the sword chi coming from Lin Yu's fingertips, a silhouette blocked in front of her. It was Grass Green's back. Lin Yu made a gesture with 2 of his fingers, and the sword energy that was about to hit the green grass suddenly dissipated. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. But in the next moment, the sword chi condensed again and pierced through Shang Yang's chest. Bang! Shang Yang's pupils dilated. When the sword chi condensed in front of him, he tried to pull Shun Yinran out to block the sword for the 2nd time. But the sword chi was too fast. Shang Yang was still holding Shun Yinran's wrist tightly, and he didn't have a chance to use his strength. At this moment, Shang Yang was lying on the ground, barely breathing. Sword 3rd realm of Sword Dao. He dared to do this to the 9 sons of the raging fire. He's crazy, crazy. The guests fled in all directions. Grass Green's mind went blank, and she immediately pulled Lin Yu. "Brother Lin, we can't stay here for long." Just as she was about to flee with Lin Yu, she heard a woman walking in the air from outside the side hall. "Who dares to kill in my Cold Moon Palace?" Wherever the woman stepped, the ground cracked. Waves of power that surpassed glory energy faintly suppressed Lin Yu and the other 2. "Master!" Shin Yinran immediately knelt. "Master, save me. It's over." Grass Green's body trembled. She bowed and said, "Fighting Sect Disciple Grass Green greets Palace Master Chi Yao." The woman with a cold expression was one of the 3 palace masters of Cold Moon Palace, Chi Yao. Grand Supreme Realm. Yinga looked at the woman warily. She was young and seemed to be in her 20s. However, the aura surrounding her was no longer pure glory energy, but grand supreme power. Moreover, she gave off the feeling that she was comparable to the nine-headed Buddha Emperor. Qiao looked down at the heavily injured Han Bin and Shang Yang on the ground. She then looked up and sized up the three of them. Do you have a grudge against the Raging Fire Temple? Grass Green was about to plead when she saw Lin Yu step forward. The one who has a grudge against the Raging Fire Temple should be your Cold Moon Palace. Nonsense. Xun Yanran and the others supported Shang Yang and Han Bin. The two of them could barely speak. You were the one who injured them. How dare you put the blame on my Cold Moon Palace? Xun Yanran pointed at Lin Yu and retorted. She was afraid that Cold Moon Palace would offend the Raging Fire Temple because of Shang Yang and Han Bin. Then, not only would she be unable to marry them, but she would also become a sinner of the sect. If you don't have an explanation, don't blame me for being heartless. Qi Yao's words were law. The Grand Supreme Power turned into a storm and blocked the path of Lin Yu and the others. With just a thought, the Grand Supreme Power would instantly devour Lin Yu and the others. However, Lin Yu showed no fear. Instead, he smiled mockingly. It seems that Cold Moon Palace has really declined. The Raging Fire Temple that you once looked down on has now become the target of your flattery. You don't even care that your female disciples were humiliated to death by the Raging Fire Temple's 9 sons? The moment Lin Yu finished speaking, Qi Yao's face was filled with killing intent. What humiliated to death? Don't talk nonsense. How could Xun Yanran believe Lin Yu's words? Today was her chance to become a phoenix, but Lin Yu had ruined it. She couldn't even listen to Lin Yu. Continue. Qi Yao interrupted Xun Yanran. Master. Xun Yanran gritted her teeth. She didn't understand why Qi Yao would listen to the words of an unknown madman. I don't want to waste my breath. Come and see for yourself. After Lin Yu finished speaking, he closed his eyes. A golden vortex appeared between his eyebrows. Spiritual sea. Xun Yanran gasped. So he's a spiritual, transcendent realm expert. Qi Yao stared at Lin Yu. In the next moment, a spiritual sea entered between Lin Yu's eyebrows. Seeing this, Han Bin and Shang Yang looked at each other and activated their spiritual sea. A jade tablet in the storage ring instantly shattered. Soon, Qi Yao withdrew her spiritual sea. Her cold face was filled with killing intent. Damn it, what she hated the most in her life was men humiliating women. However, she didn't expect that this would happen in her palace today, but she didn't notice it at all. Qi Yao's gaze fell on Han Bin and Shang Yang. She raised her right hand, and the Grand Supreme Power swept over her. Palace Master Qi, how dare you? At the brink of death, Han Bin immediately warned with all his strength. However, the Grand Supreme Power had no intention of stopping. It swept across, and even Xun Yanran was sent flying, crashing into the palace's stone pillar. As for Han Bin and Shang Yang, they were directly crushed under the Grand Supreme Power. Qi Yao didn't even look at the corpses on the ground. She stared at Lin Yu's deep eyes and said, Cold Moon Palace is indebted to you. What do you want in return? Say it. Chapter 186. What? What's going on? Xun Yanran endured the pain and looked at everything in horror. Not only did Qi Yao fail to suppress Lin Yu, but she also killed Shang Yang and Han Bin. She was even injured by Qi Yao. Qi Yao was obviously punishing her. Lin Yu was unscathed, but Xun Yanran was the one who was punished. Chao Lu's mind was also buzzing. Only Yao Gu smiled faintly. It seemed that the current situation was within this guy's expectations. I did come to Cold Moon Palace with a motive. Lin Yu spread his hands and smiled. However, I protected your reputation. You should at least thank me. Cold sweat poured down Chao Lu's back. She had never seen someone as bold as Lin Yu. Even in the entire outer region, no one of the younger generation dared to speak to a Grand Supreme powerhouse like this. Brother Lin, we're already thankful that we're not dead yet. Chao Lu persuaded softly. Thank you. However, just as she finished speaking, she heard Qi Yao's voice. What? Chao Lu's eyes widened. What happened to the saying that the strong were respected? Qi Yao looked around. All the guests had left. Only the people from Cold Moon Palace and Raging Fire Temple were left. At this moment, the people from Raging Fire Temple had already run out of the temple. One of them was the red-haired man from the small town. Damn it, why are the three of them again? The red-haired man was so scared that he was sweating profusely. He ran at the front while the few people behind him also saw that Shang Yang and Han Bin had died in Qi Yao's hands. They had a bad feeling and started running without thinking. However, at this moment, hundreds of Grand Supreme powers enveloped them. Like a boat being drowned by the sea, no one from Raging Fire Temple survived. The difference between Grand Supreme powers and Glory Qi was like a chasm. Qiao Lu was so scared that her legs turned to jelly. Palace Master Qi Yao had always kept a low profile in the outer region. The other sects only knew that Cold Moon Palace had 3 powerful Grand Supreme Palace Masters. However, she saw Qi Yao kill dozens of people at close range today. Palace Master Qi Yao, this has nothing to do with Brother Lin. It's all my fault. Cao Lu's body trembled, but she knew that Lin Yu was standing up for her. How could she let Lin Yu face Palace Master Qi Yao alone? Scram, Qi Yao said coldly. Her words were law, and green grass was sent flying and fell to the ground. Fortunately, Qi Yao did not kill her, and Cao Lu did not die from serious injuries like the people from the Raging Fire Temple. What's your goal? Qi Yao's beautiful eyes stared at Lin Yu. Moreover, her expression clearly showed a sense of disgust towards men. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Of course I do. From a moment he knew that Shang Yang and Han Bin were plotting against Cold Moon Woman Palace, he knew that the two of them were doomed. Even the people from the Raging Fire Temple, who came today, would all die. Unlike Lin Yu, they did not know the history of Cold Moon Woman Palace. This was a sect made up of 3 female experts. They advocated women's self-improvement. Therefore, humiliating the people of Cold Moon Woman Palace was the biggest crime here. Of course, Lin Yu still liked to suppress beautiful women, but he also admired Cold Moon Woman Palace's independent consciousness. This made him feel that the women here were more conquering. Speak. If you're done, leave. Qi Yao said coldly. Her eyes were only on Lin Yu from beginning to end. As for the pile of dead people from the Raging Fire Temple, they were not even qualified to enter her eyes. I want to see Dongwang Feiyu. Lin Yu directly stated his goal. Grand Palace Master is not someone you can meet just because you want to. Give me a reason. Qi Yao was not in a hurry to reject Lin Yu. If it was someone else, Qi Yao might have already asked him scram. But this guy was different. Qi Yao was very satisfied with how he handled the matter of Raging Fire Temple. Qi Yao could see that Shun Yinran's crying complaint about Lin Yu made Qi Yao feel that Lin Yu deliberately made the irrelevant guests leave. In this way, when Qi Yao learned that the female disciples of Cold Moon Woman Palace were humiliated, she could deal with them without spreading the news. From this point of view, Qi Yao had already recognized Lin Yu as an extraordinary young man. At least, he was not as simple as he looked. Many years ago, Cold Moon Woman Palace could have become the strongest high-level sect in the outer area. Unfortunately, your sect's inherited cultivation method, bright jade technique, made you, but also destroyed you. Lin Yu paced in the main hall and said. His words were as light as the wind, but it made Qi Yao frown. Her frown made green grass, Shun Yinran, and the others sweat a few more drops on their backs. How do you know about bright jade technique? Qi Yao stared at Lin Yu with undisguised killing intent in her eyes. Once the killing intent was released, it was accompanied by the power of the Grand Supreme. A storm suddenly rose in the main hall. Lin Yu was not in a hurry. He squatted beside Raging Fire Temple's Han Bin and the others and quietly collected the storage rings of the dead people. When Yao Gu and Greengrass saw this scene, they were both shocked. He was still picking up the spoils of war at this time. He valued money more than his life. Do you have a handkerchief? Lin Yu asked Shun Yinran, who was closest to him. Shun Yinran swallowed her saliva. Yes. With that, her right hand trembled as she took out a handkerchief from her bosom and handed it to Lin Yu. However, she immediately cursed in her heart. This bastard ruined her marriage alliance. Why did she still listen to him? Lin Yu wiped the blood off the dozens of storage rings and then threw them all into his own storage ring. He was calm and meticulous. It was as if the dead people at his feet were just a pile of ants to him. Even Qi Yao was a little surprised when she saw this scene. This young man was a little bit frighteningly cold. After finishing all this unhurriedly, Lin Yu returned the handkerchief to Shen Yanran. Her throat was dry, but she did not dare to refuse. She just raised her hand subconsciously and let Lin Yu put the handkerchief in her palm. Lin Yu touched Shen Yanran's palm twice, and the familiar feeling confirmed his doubts when he first came here. I not only know the bright jade skill, but also know that Dongwang Feiyu's power of the Grand Supreme is less than 100 strands. He is weaker than you, right? Lin Yu turned his head and smiled at Qi Yao. Shut up. Who would have thought that as soon as Qi Yao heard his words, she would take a step forward and the ground would shatter. The cracks spread towards Lin Yu, and in less than a second, they would reach his feet. In the cracks, the power of the Grand Supreme gushed out like steam, but in the end, it did not really hit Lin Yu. It seems that you are not irrational. Lin Yu nodded appreciatively. He said such words to an expert of the Grand Supreme realm, the Palace Master of Sect. Others already thought that he was crazy. However, Qi Yao was more vigilant against Lin Yu. She did not really do anything to Lin Yu because she did not know if there was anyone behind Lin Yu. If the real situation of Dongwang Feiyu was known by other people in the outer area, what awaited the Cold Moon Palace would be a disaster at any time. You all leave first, Qi Yao ordered, but her eyes were fixed on Lin Yu. Chapter 187. Hearing this, Shen Yanran and the others immediately stepped out of the hall. Palace Master Qi, it really has nothing to do with Brother Lin. Cao Lu is still pleading. Get out. Yes. Qi Yao's stern voice sounded. Cao Lu's legs went soft, and she staggered out of the hall with Gugu. It seems that I can continue. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Qi Yao's expression also returned to calmness and coldness. How do you know about the internal affairs of Cold Moon Palace? That's not important. What's important is that I can help you restore your status as a high-level sect. Lin Yu looked at Qi Yao confidently. It depends on whether you three sisters want it or not. You? Qi Yao shook her head helplessly. You don't know your place. Do you know what it takes to become a high-level sect? Of course. Lin Yu knew that if he didn't show off, he wouldn't be able to win the trust of Palace Master Qi, who hated men. To establish a low-level sect, you need to have Grand Supreme combat power and the approval of 2 high-level sections. To become a high-level sect, it's easier. You just need someone in the low-level sect to break through to the Grand Supreme realm and have 300 strands of Grand Supreme power. Qi Yao narrowed her eyes. Since you should also know that the Grand Supreme realm isn't something that can be broken through easily. Lin Yu knew that she misunderstood. He smiled and said, Of course I'm not going to help you break through. The most likely person in Cold Moon Palace to break through to 300 strands of Grand Supreme power is still the weak Dongwang Feiyu. Qi Yao immediately understood, but she felt that it was impossible. You can cure the side effects of Bright Jade skill? Lin Yu nodded. Qi Yao didn't believe him. You're an outsider. You don't understand how great the influence of Bright Jade skill is. You'll know if you try. Lin Yu smiled and stretched out his right hand. Give me your hand, and you'll believe me soon. Qi Yao was stunned. The 3 sisters had grown up together and had never had any skin contact with a man. But Lin Yu's offer was too tempting. If you dare to lie to me, you're dead, Qi Yao warned. She raised her hand and placed it on Lin Yu's hand. Qi Yao was startled by the warm and thick strength of his hand. Was this a man's hand? He was indeed very different from a woman. But in the next moment, Qi Yao's expression changed. The Cold Moon Woman Palace's bright jade art seemed to be purified in her body. A comfortable feeling spread throughout her body. So comfortable, Qi Yao couldn't help but exclaim. But in the next moment, Lin Yu released his hand. No, Qi Yao reached out to grab him, but Lin Yu dodged. This is just a small benefit. Lin Yu is a straightforward person. Of course, he wouldn't let Qi Yao feel too comfortable. Do you believe me now? Qi Yao nodded. What was that? Tao light, the Tao light of a divine object. Lin Yu said. Only the purifying Tao light of the Nirvana fruit could get rid of the hidden dangers of the bright jade art. The stronger the bright jade art is, the stronger the cold air in the body will be. So when you 3 sisters were in the invincible realm, you couldn't find a match at the same level. Qi Yao seemed to have been seen through by Lin Yu. But what was more surprising was that Lin Yu had the nirvana fruit. Of course, she knew that it was the fruit of the divine object nirvana tree. Even if it was not a complete divine object, it would attract the attention of the entire extraterritorial area and even the core of the Emperor's Gate. Lin Yu continued, Dongwang Fei Yu is the most talented one among you three. So, she is the only one who has practiced the Mingyu skill to the completion of the 10th cycle. Strictly speaking, the power of the Mingyu skill at this level is equivalent to that of a Taoist law. Qi Yao was shocked again. This guy could not only get rid of the hidden dangers of the bright jade art, but also knew everything about the three sisters. You must not be from the extraterritorial area. It seems that you're not stupid. Lin Yu nodded and smiled. If I were from the extraterritorial area, the Cold Moon Palace would have lost its foothold in the extraterritorial area. After all, you are a piece of fat meat in the eyes of the 4 high-level sections. Lin Yu was referring to the Jixia Book Pavilion, the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries, the Emperor's Gate, and the Raging Fire Temple. Qia didn't mind Lin Yu's description of them as fat meat. She just nodded helplessly and said politely, I hope the secret of the bright jade art will not be leaked. In the past, she might have killed him to keep him quiet. But now, Lin Yu had shown the way to break the bright jade art in advance. So in Qi Yao's heart, he was more important than a dead man who kept the secret. Now, do you think it's a pity to kill me? Lin Yu laughed mockingly. He was not worried that Qi Yao would kill him or even take away the nirvana fruit. In that moment, he had already revealed his control over the nirvana fruit's blood refinement. Even if Yuga took it away, the nirvana fruit would not be under her control at all. Yuga calmed herself down and exhaled a fragrant breath. Then she said, If you can really help us break the hidden danger of the bright jade art, the Cold Moon Palace is willing to accept any conditions. Lin Yu knew that she had taken a bait. He said directly, including the 10,000-year-old ice soul. Yuga widened her eyes. The 10,000-year-old ice soul is the biggest secret of the Cold Moon Palace. How do you know? That's not the point. Lin Yu certainly would not tell her that he had failed 100 times to trick Yuga into telling him the secret. You just need to know that I need to borrow the 10,000-year-old ice soul. If you agree, I will break the hidden danger of the bright jade art in Dongwang Fei Yu's body. Lin Yu did not say anything more. He turned around and did not look at Qi Yao anymore. He had already made the deal. The rest was up to Qi Yao to make the decision. Lin Yu checked the storage rings of the people of the Raging Fire Temple and found that there were more than 3 billion glory bot in total. Most of the glory bot came from Hanbin and Shangyang. In addition, in Shangyang's storage ring, Lin Yu also saw a lot of love letters and tokens from the female disciples of the Raging Fire Temple. This bastard had deceived more than 30 female disciples. Beast! He almost caught up with my record. Lin Yu scolded Shangyang and continued to check. The rest were just ordinary cultivation methods, elixirs, weapons, and a few spiritual weapons. However, this number was obviously much richer than the people of the 4-direction star area. 9 sons of the Raging Fire, listen to my order. Underwater demonic beast forest. Seize the fortune of all beasts in Jiuxing Mountain. No mistakes. Lin Yu found that there were 2 voice-transmitting talismans in Shangyang's and Hanbin's storage rings. The instructions on them were exactly the same. Underwater demonic beast forest? Isn't that the battle of the princes that Tang Xian mentioned? Lin Yu had been trapped for 100,000 years. Although he had not encountered the battle of the princes, he had learned about this year's battle of the princes from the arrangement made by the Imperial Preceptor in advance. Chapter 188. Underwater Demon Beast Forest. Could it be that there are some interesting things hidden in those little beasts? Lin Yu smiled faintly. He didn't want to do such a wicked thing as stealing other people's fortune. But if his opponent was Jiuxing Shan, then he was willing to do it. Since I know this secret, maybe this is Jiuxing Shan's fate. Lin Yu calculated that the time of the Imperial Prince battle was still a bit tight, so he immediately turned around. Qi Yao was startled, afraid that Lin Yu would go back on his word. She nodded and said, I agree, but I still need to get second sister's and big sister's permission. Okay, Dongwang Fei Yu should be in seclusion now. so you can't tell her. You just need to inform Yao Rao and then reply to me. Lin Yu didn't want to waste any more time. Hearing this, Chi Yao felt that this kid was strange. Why did it seem that he was more familiar with Cold Moon Palace than she was? Then I'll arrange for you to stay. Chi Yao went to make the arrangements. After leaving the side hall, she went to the fourth mountain without saying anything. Cold Moon Palace had a total of 9 ice mountains. Chi Yao was in charge of 7 to 9 mountains, and the second palace master, Yao Rao, was in charge of 4 to 6 mountains. After Chi Yao left, Shun Yanran and the others also received Chi Yao's order to arrange a place for Lin Yu. As for Chao Lu and Yuga, they were worried for Lin Yu. Brother Lin, didn't Palace Master Chi punish you? I think everything is under young Master's control again. Yuga said before Lin Yu. Master has arranged for you to stay in the 7th Mountain's main hall. Please follow me. Although Shun Yanran was surprised, she didn't dare to disobey Chi Yao's order. She immediately invited Lin Yu. Stay here? Chao Lu was surprised. Brother Lin, Cold Moon Palace has never let a man stay here. This is strange. Lin Yu smiled faintly and didn't bother to explain. Lead the way. On the 4th mountain of Cold Moon Palace, a cold mist lingered outside the palace. Disciple greets 3rd Palace Master. The female disciples in charge of guarding the door all bowed in surprise. They didn't expect that Palace Master Chi Yao would be invited here today. Chi Yao casually nodded. Where's the 2nd Palace Master? 2nd Palace Lord is in the bathhouse. After the disciple finished speaking, Chi Yao went straight into the palace. 2nd Palace Master. The 2 female disciples were shocked. When they wanted to inform Chi Yao, they saw Chi Yao looking at them. They were so scared that they didn't dare to say anything. Chi Yao was very anxious because of Lin Yu. How could she have the time to wait for them to pass the message? As he stepped into the bathhouse, he was greeted by a warm mist. The sound of water gurgling could be heard, and everything in front of him was a blur of snow. However, the structure of this place was peculiar, and it blocked the probing of divine sense. Chi Yao sighed. Elder sister, I have something to tell you. Pa! Chi Yao felt a heavy slap on her buttocks. Ah! He immediately turned around, but he didn't see anyone. Stop fooling around. This matter concerns the life and death of my Cold Moon Palace. Chi Yao said anxiously. You can actually make my cute little sister so nervous. Say it. Behind Chi Yao's back, 2 spotlessly white wrists wrapped around her. A charming woman was actually hugging her from behind. Elder sister, are you recuperating? Chi Yao immediately sensed that the other party's heartbeat was extremely fast. She turned around and saw that the girl behind her was only in her 20s. Her entire body was red, and she looked at her with an uncomfortable expression. The backlash of the bright jade technique is getting worse. A gentle voice came. The person who spoke was the 2nd Palace Master of Cold Moon Palace, Yao Rao. Chi Yao knew the pain of the backlash. It was also because of this that their sect had this kind of hot spring bathhouse. It was to alleviate the bone-chilling pain of the backlash of the bright jade technique. I came to tell you that there is someone who can resolve the backlash of our bright jade technique. Chi Yao said excitedly. Don't joke around. When Elder Sister stepped into the 300 Dao Exalts, she was already affected by the backlash. In the entire outer region, no one is more talented than Elder Sister. Yao Rao said disappointedly. After so many years, she seemed to have accepted her fate. That kid is different. Chi Yao told Yao Rao everything that happened with Lin Yu today. After listening, Yao Rao sank into deep thought. If it is really the nirvana fruit, then perhaps it has the ability to resolve the bright jade technique. After all, the mysteries of divine objects have long been recorded in ancient books. It's just that we have never seen it. Yao Rao judged. If your feeling at that time was not wrong, then perhaps that kid can really help us. Chi Yao nodded. It can't be wrong. Elder sister, you agree? But Yao Rao still hesitated. I still need to see him personally. You should know that Elder sister's current situation is not good. We need to be cautious. Moreover, the 10,000-year-old ice soul is a supreme treasure that has been nurtured daily since our Cold Moon Palace was founded. Perhaps it is not as rare as his nirvana fruit, but the effect of the ice soul on the unfirm stage is not inferior to the nirvana fruit. After listening, Chiao also knew the seriousness of the matter. Elder sister wants to test Lin Yu? No, if this person is really as you said, and is so powerful at such a young age, then an ordinary test will only have the opposite effect. Yarao herself did not know. According to Chi Yao, even she had never met someone as miraculous as Lin Yu, the main palace of the seventh mountain. You may stay here for the time being, Xin Yinran said helplessly. Yaoga looked around the main palace. This place was indeed much more luxurious than her Wind Moon clan. It was just that this place was halfway up the ice mountain, and cold air constantly attacked them. Fortunately, she had stepped into the unfirm stage, and this cold air seemed to have an additional effect on the cold air of the unfirm stage. Brother Lin, are you really okay? Yara was still a little worried. It's fine. No one here can harm me. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Arrogant, Xin Yinran said disdainfully in her heart. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave. Stop. Xin Yinran had just turned when she was stopped by Lin Yu. Your master should have told you to satisfy all my requests. Xin Yinran was stunned. How did this kid know? Of course, she could not guess how much Lin Yu knew about Qi Yao. Xin Yinran nodded. Master did tell me that. May I ask what request does young Master Lin have? Lin Yu's expression was calm, but Yaru's heart tightened. He thought that if he were Lin Yu, he would definitely ask Xin Yinran about their past relationship. But Lin Yu did not do as he wished. My shoulders are sore. Lin Yu casually found an armchair and sat down. Seeing this, Xin Yinran obviously knew what he meant. Brother Lin, Yaru sighed inwardly. Lin Yu still did not understand Xin Yinran. After all, this woman was his ex-girlfriend. She was arrogant and stubborn. She would rather die than lower herself for some benefits. So Yaru was sure that Lin Yu would not agree to Xin Yinran's request. She would even scold Lin Yu, because the Cold Moon Palace was such a place that rejected men. The next moment, Yaru suddenly rubbed her eyes. Chapter 189. Yinran. Grass did not expect Xin Yinran to move behind Lin Yu and massaged Lin Yu's shoulders with her jade-like hands that he had never touched before. Use more strength, Lin Yu ordered. After his battle physique broke through the transcendent realm, this little bit of strength obviously did not affect him at all. Okay, Xin Yinran nodded respectfully. At the same time, she glanced at Grass and was too lazy to explain. However, thinking that Grass and Lin Yu's relationship might be good because of Lin Yu, Xin Yinran still said something. Master Lin is Master's distinguished guest. I should try my best to satisfy you. While speaking, Xin Yinran's jade-like hand scratched Lin Yu's shoulders twice more. It made Lin Yu feel a little itchy instinctively. However, these tricks might be useful for Grass and Shangyang, but Lin Yu felt that it was useless for a guy like him who did not have good luck with women. Don't play such petty tricks, Lin Yu warned, and Xin Yinran immediately focused on massaging. Seeing Xin Yinran's obedient appearance, Green Grass even had the thought of dying. He had pursued Xin Yinran for a full 5 years. However, Lin Yu had only appeared in Cold Moon Palace for less than 4 hours, and he had already been served by Xin Yinran like this. Grass was even worried that Xin Yinran would hate Lin Yu because of Shang Yang's death. But now, he completely felt that his worries were superfluous. No, even my own existence is superfluous, Grass said dejectedly. Okay, you can leave. Lin Yu was not greedy for Xin Yinran's service. Since his goal had been achieved, there was no need to continue acting. After listening, Xin Yinran seemed to understand something, and a trace of loneliness flashed in her eyes. She was shocked to realize that she seemed to have been used by Lin Yu. This man is so powerful. Then, we will leave first. Xin Yinran left the hall with a few female disciples. Yao Ge immediately sat beside Lin Yu. Are you comfortable? Not as comfortable as you. Lin Yu's casual reply made Yao Ji's cheeks flush red. Pervert, she scolded, but her eyes were full of admiration for Lin Yu. After all, Xin Yinran was also a great beauty, but Lin Yu's performance was unusually calm. He didn't even take Xin Yinran's beauty seriously. Lin Yu walked over to Cao Lu and asked, "Do you understand?" A look of understanding appeared in her green eyes. She cupped her fists and said, "So Brother Lin was doing this on purpose for me to see?" He was overjoyed. He thought that Lin Yu also liked Shun Yinran. Based on the current situation, Shan Yang was stronger than him, while Lin Yu was stronger than Shan Yang. If that was the case, then wouldn't he lose to Lin Yu for sure? Seeing Lin Yu nod, Cao Lu guessed, "Brother Lin, are you trying to tell me that if I order a woman to do something, she will become more obedient?" Yao Ge glanced at Cao Lu in annoyance. No wonder Shun Yinran doesn't like you. Cao Lu's heart skipped a beat. She immediately cupped her hands in front of her. "Miss Yao Ge, did I say something wrong?" Yao Ge shrugged and said helplessly, "Strength is the best thing to keep a woman." Hearing this, Cao Lu suddenly understood. Although Lin Yu had only appeared for a short time, he had defeated Han Bin, Shan Yang, and could talk to Palace Master Qi Yao as an equal. Just based on this kind of power and aura, it was definitely not something that green grass could compare with. I see. Cao Lu took a few steps back. "I understand." Then, she became excited. "Brother Lin, I will return to the fighting sect and cultivate in seclusion to improve my strength." Lin Yu nodded and didn't stop Cao Lu. "To be able to walk out of the haze of heartbreak and work in the right direction, you have done a good thing." Yao Ge stood beside Lin Yu and smiled. Her beautiful eyes were full of admiration. Lin Yu smiled noncommittally. "I'm not a good person." Yao Ge didn't believe him. In her eyes, Lin Yu was greedy and lustful, but he was a good person. Only the two of them were left in the hall. Lin Yu looked at the drifting snow outside the hall. Coincidentally, there was a complete set of the 4 treasures of the study in the hall. He couldn't help but walk to the desk. "I once heard Ling Shan say that your painting skills are better than hers." "So it's true." Yao Ge stood beside Lin Yu obediently, admiring Lin Yu's painting that was gradually taking shape. The mountain peak is tall and straight, and the vast expanse of snow is lonely and proud. Yao Ge couldn't help but say. However, Lin Yu was multitasking. He was holding the brush and paper in his hands, but he was thinking about Xiao Lingshan's mouth. At this moment, the female disciples outside the hall said in unison, "Greetings, Second Palace Master." Hearing this, Yao Ge looked up and saw a young but peerlessly beautiful woman in her 20s. She wore a long dress that reached the ground, and her steps were curvaceous as she walked over. "Your luck with women is too good. Another beauty has come knocking on your door." Yao Ge reminded Lin Yu, but she saw that he had his head lowered. She thought that Lin Yu was focused on painting. "Yao Rao greets young Master Lin." The woman stood 20 feet away from the desk. She didn't rashly approach to observe. Instead, she bowed politely. This kind of beautiful, charming, and knowledgeable woman made Xiang Ge feel a sense of wariness in her heart. "You can leave first," Lin Yu suddenly said. Hearing this, Yao Ge didn't show any uneasiness. Instead, she obediently bowed and left. However, she suddenly remembered that this woman's aura was much stronger than Qi Yao's. She should be the second palace master of the Cold Moon Palace. Yao Ge didn't expect to see 2 Supreme Realm experts in just half a day. Young Master Lin's friend is so beautiful. "You and young Master Lin are indeed a talented couple." Seeing Yao Ge leave the hall, the second palace master praised. "Are you saying that I'm not handsome enough?" Lin Yu still didn't look up, but this sentence made Yao Ge feel a little choked. Not only was his words sharp, but he also didn't look her in the eye. Very strong self-control. Yao Ge judged Lin Yu, but Lin Yu didn't care about her. Lin Yu already knew the purpose of the other party's visit. For a long time, Lin Yu didn't say another word to her. But at the same time, Yao Ge didn't disturb Lin Yu. She was waiting for Lin Yu to stop. After a few minutes, Lin Yu finished his stroke. When Yao Ge was about to speak, Lin Yu raised his hand. A tyrannical suction force erupted, passing through Yao Ji's position and sucking in a few pieces of flying snow from outside the hall. Lin Yu pressed his palm down, and the snowflakes seemed to have merged into the painting on the table. For a moment, the 9 mountains in the painting were filled with snow, and the artistic conception increased by several folds. Even Yao Rao was startled by this action. She could see that Lin Yu was in the transcendent realm. The transcendent realm's glory energy was of the yang attribute. Using the yang attribute to control the snowflakes would be melted into water in no time. However, Lin Yu's snowflakes were completely unharmed. What a terrifying glory energy control, Yao Ge thought in her heart. Lin Yu picked up the handkerchief beside him and wiped the ink on his hand. Sorry for the wait, Palace Master Yao Ge. Chapter 190. I'm flattered that you know my name. In the outer region, the difference in status between them was like heaven and earth. But at this moment, Yao Rao's attitude toward Lin Yu was extremely respectful. Lin Yu smiled faintly, his eyes still staring at his painting. My painting doesn't have a name yet. I wonder if Palace Master has any suggestions? Hearing this, Yao Rao came forward. This was her first time seeing the painting at such a close distance. She was stunned. This is the 9 mountains of Cold Moon Palace, Yao Rao said in shock. But soon, she found something different. The 9 mountains connect heaven and earth. Under the sky, there seems to be only coldness. Moreover, under the 9 mountains, there are vague signs of the outer region sections. Yao Rao saw 2 auras. The first one is cold. There seems to be cold air seeping out of the painting. It's bone-piercing cold. It gives people a real shock of icebergs. The second one is arrogance. The 9 icebergs stand proudly in the world. Yao Rao couldn't help but be amazed. Young Master Lin's painting has reached such a level. Yao Rao admires you. If an ordinary person heard this, they would be on cloud 9. But Lin Yu touched his chin. Seeing this, Yao Rao thought for a moment. After hesitating for a long time, she said in a low voice, "Why don't we call it 9 Frost Painting?" Lin Yu didn't say anything. Iceberg World Defying Painting? Cold Moon 9 Mountains Painting? Yao Rao said a few more names. But the more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. She was here to test Lin Yu's background. But now, she was like a maid, giving ideas to her master. But suddenly, Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. "Young master, are you laughing at me for being uncultured?" Yao Rao was about to explode. Since she came in, she felt that the atmosphere was more and more wrong. Because of a painting, all the rhythm was led by the nose by Lin Yu. She was obsessed with martial arts. How could she have the time to care about such elegant things? She didn't expect that she would be laughed at by Lin Yu today. "You're missing something." Lin Yu shrugged. But it was already good that Yao Rao could see 2 auras. "What else is there?" Yao Rao really wanted to know. However, Lin Yu didn't want to tell her so quickly. Instead, he changed the topic and said, "Alluring Palace Master, you didn't come here just to show off your elegance to Lin Yu, right?" Yao Rao helplessly smiled. "Of course not. It's just that I heard from my younger sister Qi Yao that young Master Lin has the confidence to remove the hidden danger of the bright jade technique within our bodies." Yao Rao is extremely grateful in her heart, so she especially came to thank young Master Lin. Her words were constantly flattering the man. Coupled with her enchanting charm, Lin Yu was very clear that the man with weak willpower had already died in the hands of this woman and was at her mercy. However, Lin Yu was not a man who was popular with women, so he did not panic. "Palace Master Qi Yao, you misunderstood me." Hearing this, Yao Rao's heart tightened. Could it be that Lin Yu is unable to remove the hidden danger of bright jade technique? Lin Yu continued, "What I promised was to remove the bright jade skill for Dongwang Fei Yu. As for you, a piece of 10,000-year-old ice soul is not enough." "You." Yao Rao's pretty face slightly changed, but she suppressed her anger again. "Young master, you said that you will only help eldest sister, but I wonder how sure are you that you will succeed?" 100%. Lin Yu answered without hesitation. Yao Rao frowned, wondering where this guy's confidence came from. It should be known that the hidden danger of bright jade technique had troubled them for so many years. They had also tried countless methods, elixirs, martial arts to suppress it, but none of them worked. Among the divine objects, the Nirvana tree's purification power is the strongest. Not to mention the Nirvana tree itself. Even if there is only one Nirvana fruit, perhaps you have never seen it before. Lin Yu did not hide his strength at all. If the 3 of you miss this chance, perhaps you will not have another chance in your life. Hearing this, Yao Rao was also a little scared by his words. Young master, please don't blame us. Yao Rao believes in young master. She knew that she could not continue probing. Lin Yu gave her a feeling that he was not as simple as a teenager on the surface. He was like an emperor, occupying the right to control everything. Since second palace master believes me, then arrange for me to meet Dongwang Feiyu as soon as possible. Her current situation is not good. Lin Yu put away the painting, tied it into a scroll, and handed it to Yao Rao. This painting is called Proud Cold World, and it is a gift for second palace master. As for the third essence, if palace master can understand it, perhaps you will have a chance to step into the 300 Tao realm. Proud Cold World, the third essence. Yao Rao repeated Lin Yu's words. Somehow, she had a feeling that she was facing an otherworldly expert. Taking the scroll with both hands, Yao Rao bowed again. I will arrange it now. If eldest sister succeeds, young master will be the best ally of Cold Moon Palace. Lin Yu nodded noncommittally. Seeing Yao Rao leave with satisfaction, Yao Gu also entered the hall. It seems that young master has achieved his goal again. Lin Yu smiled. It is not easy to gain a foothold in the Emperor's Gate. Not only do you need recognition, but you also need allies. Otherwise, even if you establish a sect, it will be easy to be swallowed by the high-level sections. Yao Gu nodded in agreement. Lin Yu's new force was also related to her. She naturally agreed with Lin Yu's current steady approach. The 3 palace masters of Cold Moon Palace are all Grand Supreme experts. It seems that they are not inferior to the high-level sections. Yao Gu also felt the power of Cold Moon Palace. A long time ago, when their palace master Dongwang Feiyu stepped into the 300 Tao realm, this was once a top sect in the outer region. However, it has declined a lot now. Lin Yu looked at the flying snow outside the hall, but the potential of this place is still greater than that of other high-level sections. I can make good use of it. He then said, thoughtfully, the one who took Xiao Tiandi away is in the law realm. Only quasi-emperors, or even emperor-level sects, have experts of that level. We need to become stronger faster. Yao Ji's expression was serious. Xiao Tiandi will definitely make a comeback. However, I believe that you could defeat him once, and you can defeat him a second time. Lin Yu did not think much of it. The existence of Xiao Tiandi made him feel like he was in a race with himself. It gave him the desire to become stronger. However, he felt that what was more interesting was, I am curious about how strong a divine object can become after turning into a human. If it can help me blast open that door, it may not be a bad thing. That door? Yao Gu was puzzled. After coming to the Emperor's Gate Starfield, she felt that there were many things that she did not understand. However, Lin Yu still knew everything like the back of his hand. Lin Yu nodded. The terrifying door. He did not say anything else. After hearing that, Yao Gu seemed to feel that what Lin Yu said was not something that she could reach now. She did not dare to ask more. She stood quietly behind Lin Yu and accompanied him to watch the snow. In the main hall of the 4th palace, after Yao Rao returned, Qi Yao was waiting anxiously. Sister, how is it? Inform big sister to prepare to open the underground palace and let Lin Yu in. Qi Yao was overjoyed when she heard that. Sister, you believe in Lin Yu? Although I haven't seen the nirvana fruit with my own eyes, that kid is very powerful. I can believe in him. Yao Rao opened the scroll in her hand and showed it to Qi Yao. Help me take a look. What do you think of this painting? Chapter 191. Painting. Qi Yao almost swayed. Why would Yao Rao suddenly mention such an elegant thing? However, when the proud cold world was fully displayed in front of Qi Yao, her mind suddenly tightened. This isn't an ordinary painting, Qi Yao said subconsciously. Nonsense. Do you think I need your help to look at an ordinary painting? Yao Rao glanced at her. Show me seriously. The painting contains the method to break through the 300 Grand Supreme Realm. Qi Yao was stunned for a moment. 300 Grand Supreme Realm? Where did you get such a powerful thing? She suddenly recalled that Yao Rao had only gone to one place. Did Lin Yu give it to you? Yao Rao nodded. Not only did he give it to me, but he also drew it in front of me. This. Qi Yao observed every part of the painting. The more she looked, the more solemn her expression became. Such a powerful concept. Yes. What concepts did you see? Yarao quickly asked. Domineering. This painting is the 9 mountains of our cold moon palace. Below the mountains, there are the miniature images of various sects in the outer region. The painting seems to be announcing to the world that these 9 mountains are the supreme existences in the outer region. I can see that too. Is there anything else? Yarao was obviously disappointed. Cold aura. It's obviously a painting. How can it be like a real iceberg and emit cold aura? Qiao's heart tightened. Her jade-like hand touched the painting. She only felt the bone-chilling coldness on her fingertips and quickly retracted it. It's cold aura indeed. So powerful. There were many invincible realm experts. However, Qiao had never seen anyone who could inject cold aura into the painting. In her impression, she had never even heard of such a thing. Is this really painted by Linyu himself? Not to mention that his ability to inject cold aura into the painting is like a supernatural being. I remember that he's only in the transcendent realm? Qiao asked continuously. Yarao shook her head and sighed. You didn't see the third concept? There's a third concept? After saying that, Qiao studied it for a long time. Then, she raised her head helplessly. I can't see it. Maybe the first 2 concepts are too frightening and have already distracted our attention. Yarao suddenly saw the light and recalled the situation when she had seen the painting for the first time. So if it was like that, it must be like that. Thinking of this, Yarao's complexion became even more solemn. In other words, you and I are both affected by the first 2 concepts, so it is already impossible for us to see through the third concept. Then why don't we let Big Sister take a look? Qiao thought of something. All right, I'll also inform her about Linyu. I'll leave the rest to you. Yao Rao instructed and stepped onto the first mountain alone. It was the tallest ice mountain among the 9 mountains. It was located halfway up the mountain. Yao Rao had already sensed the supreme power lingering around the mountain with a single step. Big Sister. Yao Rao frowned. The power of the most supreme was weak. She knew that Dongwang Feiyu was not in a good state. I hope that kid can really change the fate of us 3 sisters. Yao Rao lightly gritted her teeth and stepped onto the mountaintop. There was no palace here. Instead, there was a concave entrance at the peak of the mountain. As soon as Yao Rao stepped into it, she sensed hostility seeping out. Big Sister, it's me, Yao Rao shouted. Her voice reverberated down and did not echo for a long time. It was as if the entire interior of the first mountain was this entrance. It was unfathomable. The hostility dissipated. Yao Rao stepped on the air and landed. Around her was a long and narrow, circular staircase. There were tens of thousands of staircases, and they covered the entire interior of the mountain. After an unknown amount of time, an ice palace appeared in front of Yao Rao. The interior of the mountain was extremely dark. However, this ice palace was flickering with azure light. Yao Rao bowed in front of the ice palace. Big Sister, how are you? For a long time, there was no reply. Yao Rao's heart tightened. When she stepped into the ice palace, she was startled. What appeared in front of Yao Rao was a huge ice sculpture. Inside the ice sculpture, she saw a woman. It was a fairy-like woman. The woman seemed to be in her 20s. She was wearing white clothes and sitting cross-legged. Her eyes were closed, and her eyelashes were curved. It was hard to imagine how beautiful her eyes would be when she opened them. This woman gave off an otherworldly feeling. She clearly did not wear any makeup, but her fair skin and curvaceous figure were enough to make her have the ability to overturn the world with her beauty. However, such a woman was inside the ice sculpture, as if she was frozen. Under the ice sculpture, cold air was constantly seeping out. This place seemed to be the source of the cold air of the 9 mountains of the Cold Moon Palace. This is the place where the body is sealed in ice. This is the final backlash of the bright jade skill. Yao Rao did not expect that Dongwang Feiyu's condition was so bad. She did not dare to delay. She turned around and was about to ask Linyu. Now, she could only pin all her hopes on that unfathomable man. Don't tell anyone. Suddenly, a sound transmission came from the ice sculpture. Yao Rao turned around and heaved a sigh of relief. Big Sister, You're still alive? Your big sister. Is your big sister so easy to defeat? A bell-like voice came from the ice sculpture again. However, Yarao could hear that the voice was extremely weak. However, big sister, your time is really almost up. After hearing that, Yarao shook her head and said, there is a person who can save you. She told Dongwang Feiyu about the whole process of Lin Yu's appearance. This person cannot be trusted. A third voice came from the ice sculpture. Yarao was extremely disappointed. Why is he your only hope now? The ice sculpture was silent for a long time. Then, a voice came out. There are too many people coveting the Cold Moon Palace. Once my situation is known by the people of the outer region, they will definitely guess that your and your sister's combat power will also decrease. Then, what awaits the Cold Moon Palace will be a plunder and massacre. You can't let the Cold Moon Palace fall into eternal damnation just because of that person's small benefits. Yara did not speak for a long time. She did not want to lose her last hope. However, Dongwang Feiyu's worries were not unreasonable. In a daze, she thought of the picture scroll and immediately took it out. Big sister, that person drew a picture for me. Do you want to take a look? The woman in the ice sculpture was motionless. However, a divine consciousness swept across the picture. Big sister, don't pay attention to the first two intents. Qi Yao and I are both attracted by the first two intents. We can't see the third intent. Yao Rao reminded her. She and Qi Yao had both been taken advantage of. After a long time, the divine consciousness returned to the ice sculpture. Then, a surprise voice came out from the ice palace. How? How is this possible? Yao Rao was overjoyed. Big sister, have you comprehended the third level of intent? No, it shouldn't be. Big sister, what did you see? Yao Rao was even more confused. Yao Rao, I want to see him personally. In this state, Yao Rao reminded Dongwang Feiyu. Now, she was already an ice sculpture. It doesn't matter. That guy already knows. Chapter 192. Yao Rao left the first mountain's underground ice palace and rushed to the seventh mountain to look for Lin Yu. However, at the same time, a pressure suddenly descended from the sky above Cold Moon Palace. The female palace disciple raised her hand and looked over. She saw a gigantic five-fingered palm print covering half the sky as it came crashing down on the 9 mountains. That's the Divine Flame's city-destroying palm. Yao Rao's heart tightened. The people from Raging Fire Temple actually came at this time. She raised her right hand and prepared to attack. At the same time, Qi Yao also stepped out from the 4th mountain. Second sister, bring Lin Yu to the underground palace. This time, they came with ill intentions. I'm afraid only big sister can stop them. Qi Yao knew the seriousness of the matter. Seeing that Yao Rao had already stepped into the air to meet the huge palm print, Qi Yao did not dare to delay. She instantly used her movement technique and descended on the 7th mountain. Young master, what's that? In the 7th mountain, the disciples were also panicking because of the strange phenomenon in the sky. Shen Yinran led people to surround the main palace and guard it. On the other hand, Shen Yinran remembered that Qi Yao had ordered her to protect Lin Yu no matter what happened. At this moment, Yao Ge was looking at the palm print in the sky and asking Lin Yu in shock. The latter seemed to have expected it. It's just an ordinary Dao technique. Yao Ge was surprised. This palm print makes me tremble in fear. I'm afraid that if this palm print falls, Cold Moon Palace will be destroyed. Lin Yu did not think much of it. Don't worry. Someone will stop him. Lin Yu nodded. Raging Fire Temple's Temple Master. You've seen him before. He's that old thief Yin Tian from the inner hall of Jixia Library. The Raging Fire Temple's Temple Master came personally. It would have been fine if Mingge had not heard of it. Now that she knew of the other party's background, she was even more shocked. The palace master of a high-ranked sect is attacking Cold Moon Palace. Could it be because of the people from Raging Fire Palace who died earlier? Of course. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yin Tian was worried about not having an excuse to swallow Cold Moon Palace, so I helped him find an excuse. You deliberately provoked me back then? A cold voice sounded. It was Palace Master Qi Yao who had rushed over. Even if I didn't provoke them, After you know how the Raging Fire Palace treats their female disciples, those people from the Raging Fire Palace will still end up the same. Lin Yu also met Qi Yao's reproachful gaze without a trace of fear. Hearing this, Qi Yao suppressed her anger. I was too impulsive. Are you talking about impulsively killing the people of the Raging Fire Temple, or impulsively condemning me? Lin Yu asked again. Xin Yanran, Yao Gu, and the others were stunned on the spot when they saw this, and they were extremely surprised by the conversation between Lin Yu and Qi Yao. Lin Yu looked even younger than them, so how could he talk to their Supreme Palace Master Qi Yao on equal terms? It even vaguely seemed to suppress Palace Master Qi Yao's aura. Qi Yao felt that she had almost wronged young master. Qi Yao's tone changed for the better. The people of Raging Fire Temple deserve to die. Very good. Lin Yu nodded. It seems that Cold Moon Palace's former arrogance is still there. Since Palace Master Qi Yao is here, then Palace Master Yao Rao must have already met Yin Tian. Qi Yao looked up and was stunned. How do you know who it is? Not only do I know it's Yin Tian, but I also know that his current cultivation is at least at the Grand Supreme Realm. How long do you think Yao Rao can last? Qi Yao came back to her senses. Oh no, young Master Lin, come with me. After saying this, Qi Yao directly pulled Lin Yu's hand. Yao Gu was shocked. Palace Master Qi Yao, young master can't beat a powerful Grand Supreme Realm enemy. I'm not asking him to fight Yin Tian. Qi Yao explained in a panic. Big sister is waiting for you. She was taking Lin Yu to the first mountain. I've never seen Master so anxious before. The disciples discussed animatedly. Xin Yanran was the first to come back to her senses. It seems that all hope is on that kid. What are you waiting for? Set up the defense immediately. If Palace Master Yao Rao is defeated, we have to stop the powerful enemy for the palace. After hearing this, all the disciples immediately began to prepare. However, Shun Yanran felt a little guilty. If the Raging Fire Temple's disaster was calculated clearly, it was caused by her. Young master, can you really cure Big Sister? At the top of the first mountain, Qi Yao couldn't help but ask again. However, she didn't hear Lin Yu's answer. Instead, she saw him go straight down to the underground palace. Why do you seem to be familiar with this place? Qi Yao asked again. I've been here hundreds of times. Lin Yu answered casually, but Qi Yao was shocked when she heard his answer. Impossible, only his three sisters know about this underground palace. Lin Yu knew that he had let it slip and was too lazy to explain. The more he said about such things, the more mistakes he would make. Here we are. Lin Yu's feet turned into two rays of light. Using the fairy shoes, he instantly arrived in front of the ice palace. Young master, Big Sister is inside. I know. Lin Yu nodded. Leave it to me. You go and help Yao Rao. Hearing this, Qi Yao was obviously a little worried. What if he did something to Big Sister? Qi Yao go. Suddenly, Dongwang Feiyu's voice came from the ice palace. Qi Yao was stunned. Okay, Big Sister, I'll go now. She left the ice palace. Lin Yu teleported and appeared in front of the ice statue. Looking at the frozen beauty, he wasn't surprised at all. I heard about you from my sister, but I didn't expect to see you with my own eyes. I'm still a little moved. Dongwang Feiyu withdrew his divine thoughts from Lin Yu and transmitted his voice to Lin Yu. Oh, the great palace master was the most talented person in the outer region. I'm surprised that Lin Yu could make you moved. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He was not anxious because of what happened outside. Yao Gu and Yao Rao attacked at the same time. They could block Yin Tian for a while. Feiyu originally thought that my talent was not bad. However, young master's 3 yuan as one cultivation has reached a perfect state. I'm afraid that no one in the invincible realm can be your opponent. Dongwang Feiyu did not hide that he had seen through Lin Yu's cultivation direction. However, his tone was more of praise for Lin Yu. Young master is still in the one-sun transcendent realm. Your potential is unlimited. Once you break through to the 3 yuan invincible realm, Feiyu boldly guesses that young master will be invincible in the outer region. This sentence was already the highest praise that Dongwang Feiyu had ever said in his life. She did not expect that just by seeing Lin Yu for the first time, She already had such an idea in her heart. 3 yuan is 1. She once dreamed that she could cultivate it. However, after practicing it and experiencing failure again and again, she finally gave up. Today's dual cultivation of divine thoughts and Yao Qi was already her limit. Lin Yu did not talk much nonsense. If Dongwang Feiyu did not have such insight, she would not be worth Lin Yu's effort to rope her in. Now that Yin Tian is clamoring outside, Palace Master should want to teach him a lesson, right? Chapter 193. Lin Yu paced back and forth in the Ice Palace. Those who were defeated by me in the past have all become the overlords of the outer area. But the real geniuses are all killed here because of the backfire of the bright jade skill. Dongwang Feiyu didn't say anything, but Lin Yu also sensed the fluctuation of her divine thoughts. You are worried, but there is nothing you can do. Lin Yu saw through her thoughts. You told me in the scroll that the 9 changes of the bright jade skill are related to the 9 mountains, but I can't understand it further. You wasted your effort. What Dongwang Feiyu said was the 3rd essence that she had comprehended. There will be plenty of time. Palace Master will figure out sooner or later. Lin Yu knew that there was not much time, so he said, if Palace Master is ready, then let's start. Do you really only need to borrow the 10,000-year-old ice spirit? Dongwang Feiyu was worried that Lin Yu had other requirements, so she asked cautiously. If Cold Moon Palace is willing, of course, you could be an ally of my new sect. Lin Yu raised his hands. Of course, this is not a mandatory requirement. Palace Master can decide for yourself. With your ability, it is not difficult for you to gain a foothold in the outer area. That is to say, if your ambition is only in the outer area, you will not be interested in Cold Moon Palace as an ally. Dongwang Feiyu was very sensitive, and she immediately saw the reason behind Lin Yu's desire to form an alliance. Unless your new sect is in the inner area, or even the core. Lin Yu smiled without hiding anything. Palace Master Dongwang, you are indeed the most powerful person in the outer area. Yes, Lin Yu's ambition is in the entire Emperor Star area. Seeing that Lin Yu was honest, Dongwang Feiyu immediately liked him. You are ambitious. Cold Moon Palace is also willing to help you. Lin Yu nodded with satisfaction. A golden light burst out from his abdomen and instantly lit up the entire Ice Palace. This is the Nirvana fruit, Dongwang Feiyu said with a trembling voice. In the sky outside, the huge palm print dissipated, but countless sparks fell from the sky and smashed into the 9 mountain ranges of Cold Moon Palace. Rumble. Many mountain rocks and snow were knocked down, forming an avalanche. People who protect the town. Some of the female palace disciples were injured, but most of them had already evacuated. Now, they were all rushing to the border between the 9 mountains and the small town to display their glory chi. Indomitable realm experts used their glory chi to form ice walls, while disciples below Indomitable Realm gathered their glory chi to the front line. In an instant, a huge ice wall immediately isolated the town. The avalanche crashed down, producing a deafening sound. Qiao and Yaorao looked down, and seeing the ice wall had smoothly blocked all the dangers, both of them simultaneously relaxed. However, their current state wasn't any better. To be able to block my all-out attack, you're quite capable. In front of the 2 girls, a red-haired old man stepped out of the flames. Behind him, a huge flaming golden body was like a demonic god that had descended, overlooking the 9 mountains. Raging Fire Ancestor, did you come to my Cold Moon Palace to start a war? Yarao squinted her eyes and blocked the old man's attack. The 2 of them didn't just block it normally, they also had to use their cultivation to resolve it, so that the scattered palm power wouldn't destroy the 9 mountains and the small town below. Therefore, they had already used up a lot of energy. Yin Tian raised his hand and snorted. So what if we start a war? 2 of my disciples died in your Cold Moon Palace. Even if I kill thousands of your disciples today, it won't be too much. Ancestor Yin Tian, you know very well why your 2 disciples have come to my woman's palace. Qiao snorted and was ready to fight again at any time. I only heard that your female palace disciples wanted to curry favor with my disciples and establish a relationship with the Raging Fire Palace. I think other people in the outer region also know about this. Yin Tian sneered. Women are useless, so they can only sell their bodies. I'm afraid I don't need to say more about this, right? Now, the outer region is waiting to see you make a fool of yourself. Shut up. Qi Yao's aura was inexhaustible. She shot forward after her stern voice sounded. She raised her right hand and circulated the bright jade skill. 100 zenith powers formed numerous icicles that shot towards Yin Tian, full of openings. Yin Tian raised the corner of his mouth and raised his right hand. At the same time, the giant behind him roared, and a wave of flames rolled out and melted the icicles. Oh no! Qi Yao was shocked. She was too close to the golden body. When she wanted to retreat, the golden body had already reached out to grab her. The sky above Qi Yao was filled with flames. Stay. Yin Tian sneered, but his gaze swept past Yao Rao. She had already turned into a stream of light and appeared in front of Qi Yao. I've been waiting for you. Yin Tian smiled strangely and pointed with his left hand. A pillar of flame shot out and surrounded Yao Rao with the golden body. Rumble. Yao Rao was only focused on blocking the golden body. Her abdomen was hit by the pillar of flame. She retreated quickly and brought Qi Yao out of Yin Tian's attack range. Cold Moon Palace Masters are only SOSO. Yin Tian smiled disdainfully. Despicable. Qi Yao supported Yao Rao and said sternly. She turned and saw that Yao Rao's face was pale and her clothes were on fire. She had obviously been hit. Second sister, it's all my fault. Qi Yao's eyes were filled with tears. Yao Rao shook her head and smiled. That old bastard Yin Tian deliberately provoked you. You can't be blamed for this. She knew that she could no longer fight. Qi Yao alone was definitely not Yin Tian's opponent. At this moment, Yin Tian walked over. I heard that before my 2 disciples died, they were injured by someone called Lin Yu. This person is still in Cold Moon Palace. Hand him over, and I might let you live. This? Qi Yao was stunned. She did not expect Yin Tian to know about Lin Yu. She immediately reminded Yao Rao. I've already instructed my disciples not to spread news about young Master Lin. How could this be? Yao Rao sighed. Unless there's a spy among the disciples. Is it Yinran? Qi Yao clenched her teeth. Shin Yinran was the biggest suspect. She was even the one who provoked Raging Fire Palace. At first, Qi Yao only thought that it was a relationship between disciples. Although she did not like it, she did not take away a disciple's personal rights. She did not expect that it would attract Yin Tian. Young Master Lin is an important guest of Cold Moon Palace. We can't hand him over to you. Yao Rao firmly rejected Yin Tian. Oh, for a man, Cold Moon Palace is willing to offend my Raging Fire Palace. Yin Tian, on the other hand, was a little surprised. I heard that Cold Moon Woman's palace never entertains men. But Lin Yu is able to stay here and take whatever he wants in this land of warmth and tenderness. Chapter 194. Shut up, old bastard Lai Hua. What nonsense are you talking about? Qi Yao pointed at Yin Tian. What she hated the most was others humiliating Cold Moon Palace. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw Yin Tian's figure disappear. When he reappeared, he was already above the 2 women and his palm smashed down once again. Bang! Yao Rao was already injured, and at this moment, before she could even use her cultivation to defend herself, she was already hit by the flames in the palm, and her whole body fell into the 9 mountains. On the other side, Qi Yao's golden body rose from the ground. Her enormous azure body was more than 10 feet tall. She caught Yao Rao with one hand and used her other hand to welcome Yin Tian's palm force. But amidst the rumbling, the flaming golden body became even more powerful. Qi Yao's golden body was forced back, but a hand had already grabbed her body. The strength of the hand caused blood to seep out from the corner of her mouth. Are you going to hand over Lin Yu? Yin Tian's cold voice rang out as he exerted force with his right hand. Qi Yao's golden body was about to attack, but at this moment, because her main body was heavily injured, it directly dissipated. A mere 106 strands of the power of the Exalted are enough for me to attack. Yin Tian's face was filled with disdain as he looked down at Yao Rao, who was falling from midair, as well as the countless frightened female disciples below. Originally, I just wanted to find an excuse to test your background, but I didn't expect that the Cold Moon Women Palace has really declined. Dongwang Feiyu, weren't you very arrogant in the battle between the sovereigns of the foreign regions? Yin Tian seemed to have recalled the past, and the hatred on his face deepened as he tightly squeezed Qi Yao. How can a raging fire ancestor like you compare to Big Sister? Nonsense, Yin Tian said angrily. This old man will ask you one more time. Hand over Lin Yu, and you will be spared from the destruction of your sect. Don't even think about it. My Cold Moon Palace would not do such a thing without conscience. Young Master Lin has done us a favor. Don't even think about touching him. Qi Yao gritted her teeth and said, Interesting. The Cold Moon Palace's third palace master is actually willing to give up her life for a man. Even Yin Tian was surprised at this moment. But at this time, Yao Gu caught the falling Yao Rao. At the same time, Yao Gu emptied her right hand and poured a large amount of drunken dream into her throat, causing tyrannical Yao Qi fluctuations to erupt. No, you're only in the unyielding realm. Qi Yao immediately guessed what she was going to do and screamed at her heart. However, before he could say anything, he saw Yao Gu forming a seal with one hand. An ice phoenix behind her flapped its wings and shot toward Yin Tian. You overestimate yourself. Yin Tian subconsciously thought that the other party was from Cold Moon Palace. Yao Gu pushed Yao Rao away, and the ice phoenix passed between Flame Sky and Qi Yao. Qi Yao regained her freedom, but Yao Gu was swallowed by the flames of the golden body at the same time. Damn it! Qi Yao flew into a rage, her golden body colliding with Yin Tian. A rumbling sound spread out in all directions. Yin Tian stepped out from within the flames. Clearly, he had been injured by Qi Yao's attack. In another direction, Qi Yao charged down. She was only able to escape from Yin Tian's claws because Yao Gu had saved her. Naturally, she would not abandon her. However, there was no sign of Yao Gu falling from the flames below. Instead, there was a burst of laughter. Old dog Yin Tian, why are you in such a hurry to find me? Are you going to take revenge for Jiu Xingshan? Lin Yu. Yin Tian's eyes widened. After the flames dissipated, he saw Lin Yu appear in the air with Yao Ji's body in his arms. Since you dare to show yourself, you should be prepared to die. Yin Tian's angry laughter rang out in all directions. The flaming golden body raised its leg and stomped down on Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu did not move at all. He only checked Yao Ji's injuries. Fortunately, they are not serious. Young master, Yin Tian is here. Yao Gu was very worried. Don't worry, someone will deal with him. As soon as he said that, a terrifying grand supreme power soared into the sky from the first mountain. In the sky, a pair of huge palms descended on Yin Tian's golden body. 400 strands of grand supreme power. You are. Yin Tian's eyes widened as he saw the palms descending. Boom! The palms contained a terrifying ice energy that extinguished the flames of Yin Tian's golden body before they could erupt. That was the golden body's restraint. At the same time, a beautiful figure in white slowly walked over from the first mountain. Wherever she passed, ice flowers bloomed in the air. Raging Fire Temple, are you bullying my Cold Moon Palace? The beautiful figure's voice spread throughout the 9 mountains. Everyone was stunned. Is that the Grand Palace Master? The Grand Palace Master has been in seclusion for many years. She has finally come out. Our Cold Moon Palace will never be bullied again. Yin Tian was defeated by a single move. As his aura dissipated, he smiled faintly and said, Dongwang Feiyu, I haven't seen you for many years. You are still as powerful as ever. In his words, there was clearly a trace of fear that wasn't present before. She was once a top figure in the outer zone of the imperial sect. After being in seclusion for many years, her sect's rating dropped from a high-level sect to a low-level one. But now, after coming out of seclusion, she displayed more than 400 strands of grand supreme power. Yin Tian felt his blood boil. However, under Dong Wang Feiyu's feet, ice flowers bloomed faster and spread toward Yin Tian like vines. 10 feet, 30 feet, 5 feet, 2 inches. Yin Tian's eyes widened. He watched as the ice flowers surrounded him. But he could not react at all. Bright jade skill. He was shocked. The Raging Fire Temple's cultivation method was quickly activated. However, before he could make a move, he was bound by chains formed by ice flowers. Dong Wang Feiyu, I'm the temple master of the high-level Raging Fire Temple. How dare you touch me? Yin Tian roared. He raised his grand supreme power to the extreme, but he still could not break the shackles of the bright jade skill's ice flowers. Dong Wang Feiyu's expression was cold. She took a step forward, and ice formed in midair. It spread toward Yin Tian like the land in the sky. At the edge of the ice land, Yin Tian widened his eyes. He saw icicles as sharp as blades coming toward him. No! Yin Tian roared and looked up at a corner of the starry sky. Over there, a golden light broke through the sky and blocked in front of Yin Tian. However, the purpose of the golden light was to cut off the ice land in the sky. Bang! The golden light was like a blade, and the ice land was like a chopping board. It fell from the sky, and the whole ice land was broken. However, the ice condensed again in an instant. Dong Wang Feiyu stopped attacking and looked at the falling ice flowers in front of her. There was no trace of Yin Tian. Shin Suyi of the Emperor sect has also reached such a level. Dong Wang Feiyu looked at the sky and sighed with emotion. Although there was no one there, Yin Tian spat out a mouthful of blood after he appeared in the periphery of the Cold Moon Women Palace. It seems that Temple Master Yin is seriously injured. Dong Wang Feiyu deserves her reputation. Beside him, a charming woman stood with her hands clasped behind her back. There was still fear in her eyes. If sect leader Shun hadn't helped me, I would have been killed in the Cold Moon Women Palace. Yin Tian, who had survived the disaster, sighed his heart and said, It seems that the message about Dong Wang Feiyu's Qigong deviation is false. Now, no one in the outer area can compete with her. Temple Master Yin, what are your plans? Shin Suyi tried to sound him out. Chapter 195. Of course, it's the Battle of the Princes. As long as we create a new prince, we will have the support of the inner area and even the core sections. Even if Dong Wang Feiyu is invincible in the outer area, he won't be able to cause any trouble in the inner area. Hall Master Yan's words make sense. Then let's do as we've agreed. Jiao Xingshan will obtain good fortune and become a crown prince in this Battle of the Princes. As for our Qing Qing, we'll arrange for her to be the next crown prince. Yin Tian smiled and nodded with satisfaction. Don't worry. The things in the demonic beast forest have long been recognized as Jiao Xingshan's. This Battle of the Princes is just a formality. As long as Jiao Xingshan succeeds, I will definitely repay the kindness of the Emperor's sect. That's good. Shin Sui nodded with a faint smile. Before the ninth mountain, the disciples of the palace had begun to rebuild the place destroyed by Yin Tian. Qi Yao and Yao Rao appeared at the same time and came to Dong Wang Feiyu. They were not seriously injured, but they were still in shock. Congratulations, elder sister, the two girls said in unison. Thanks to Child Lin and Miss Yuinga, Qi Yao said gratefully. She also remembered what Yuinga had done. Miss Yuinga, are you injured? Yao Rao remembered that it was Yuinga who saved her when she was in danger. Just a little injury. Yuinga bowed and said, Child Lin's people are really powerful. Dong Wang Feiyu looked at Lin Yu and said, You can leave now. After hearing that, everyone left, leaving only Lin Yu and Dong Wang Feiyu in the hall. Seeing the others leave, Dong Wang Feiyu collapsed on the palace master's chair. Seeing this, Lin Yu was also expecting it. You've just recovered. You don't have to push yourself too hard. Thank you. Dong Wang Feiyu was referring to Lin Yu. Although he saw that she was not in a good state, he didn't say it out loud. You thought that you could defeat Yin Tian directly, so you went all out despite your injury. But you didn't expect that there was someone behind Yin Tian, Lin Yu said calmly. Although he didn't have the ability to predict the future, he knew that there was someone behind Yin Tian. If that was not the case, why would that old thief Yin Tian act so recklessly in the female palace? However, Lin Yu knew that Yin Tian was not smart enough. Therefore, the one who was injured was him and not the person behind him. It's Emperor Sex Shun Sui. Dong Wang Feiyu sighed softly and did not hide his guess from Lin Yu. The high-level sects in the outer area have never formed an alliance before. But this time, the Emperor's sect and the Raging Fire Temple attacked our women's palace together. I guess the benefits of their alliance must be great. Lin Yu smiled. Dong Wang Feiyu was indeed smart. What if it's a battle for the crown prince? Hearing this, Dong Wang Feiyu was puzzled and said, there can only be one winner in the battle of the princes. This is also the reason why the high-level sects haven't cooperated for so many years. In the past, we didn't cooperate because everyone had a chance in the Imperial Prince battle, but that's not the case now. Lin Yu told her his guess. I once saw some clues in the storage rings of the 9 sons of the Raging Fire Temple. Perhaps there is something waiting for Jiuxing Mountain in this battle of the princes, so the Raging Fire Temple is determined to get it. If the Emperor's sect also knows about this, they will give up the fight and help the Raging Fire Temple win the Crown Prince's position at the same time. But this, Dong Wang Feiyu looked worried. Obviously, she could do nothing about the hidden dangers between the sects in the outer area. She had not been involved in these battles for too long. I have no intention of fighting with them. I also hope that they will not step on our Cold Moon Women's Palace. After hearing this, Lin Yu interrupted her and said, the tree wants to be quiet, but the wind will not stop. Since Palace Master is in this chaotic world, you should have known that these things are inevitable. In today's situation, if Yin Tian wins, have you ever thought about the fate of the Cold Moon Women's Palace? This, Lin Yu's tone was cold. He knew that this woman's former spirit had been wiped out by the torture of the bright jade skill for many years. If he wanted to get the help of the Cold Moon Women's Palace, he needed to let her understand the current situation. Child Lin Yu is right. The tree wants to be quiet, but the wind will not stop. Dong Wang Feiyu murmured and repeated Lin Yu's words. Child, you are so talented. You have hidden the truth in nature, which is really impressive. Lin Yu smiled in his heart and shrugged helplessly, but he did not explain further. Child, are you going to participate in the Battle of the Princes? Yes, but I don't have a sect yet. However, the Dragon Sealing City of the 9 Luminaries has invited me. After hearing this, Dong Wang Feiyu nodded and said, Child, your ability is extraordinary. I think the Dragon Sealing City has also seen this. She said with a little worry, but the Battle of the Princes will be fierce. I don't know what despicable things those sects will do. Child, please be careful. Lin Yu smiled faintly and said, although Lin Yu is a simple-minded person, it will not be easy for them to deal with me. After hearing this, Dong Wang Feiyu seemed to understand what Lin Yu meant. Why don't you let Yao Rao go with you? Lin Yu was her savior, and because of Yin Tian, he had also become the savior of the female palace. Therefore, Dong Wang Feiyu would not let Lin Yu be harmed by other sections. Palace Master Yao Rao is in charge of the affairs of the female palace. You are not in your best condition yet. It is not suitable for you to take over the affairs of the female palace immediately. Lin Yu had already made up his mind. He would take Yao Rao with him. Why don't I take Xin Yinran with me to the 7th mountain? She can also take care of her daily life along the way. Dong Wang Feiyu naturally would not refuse Lin Yu's small request. He nodded and agreed. Lin Yu had nothing else to do, so he left the hall. Child, you're still a young man. Dong Wang Feiyu subconsciously thought that Lin Yu liked Shen Yinran. Yao Rao was obviously more useful than Shen Yinran, but Lin Yu gave up. Outside the hall, Yao Rao came in with a pout. You heard it all? Dong Wang Feiyu glanced at her. Girl, I told you not to eavesdrop on others. Yao Rao smiled faintly and said, Shen Yinran is really outstanding, but I'm afraid that girl is in trouble now. Oh, Dong Wang Feiyu said in surprise. When Lin Yu arrived at the 7th mountain, he saw that the rest of the disciples looked solemn. Why did you betray the sect? Xin Yin ran. Although you joined the sect late, I still taught you everything. What have I done to you? In the hall, Qi Yao's angry voice reverberated. The disciples lined up on both sides. In front of Qi Yao, Shun Yinran knelt on the ground and begged, Master, I really didn't. If it weren't for you, how could the Raging Fire Temple know about Child Lin and everything that happened on your wedding day? Qi Yao questioned again. I don't know. Xin Yinran's pretty face turned pale. How could she know about the Raging Fire Temple? But now Qi Yao's suspicion was all because she was greedy at that time. I just wanted to promote the alliance between the Women's Palace and the Raging Fire Temple. I never betrayed the sect. Shun Yinran kowtowed and begged for mercy. But even so, Qi Yao's expression did not change at all. Drag Xin Yinran into the death cell and torture her. Yes. Hearing this, Xin Yinran knew that she was doomed. But at this time, Lin Yu's voice came from outside the hall. She is not a mole. Let her go. Chapter 196. Child Lin. Qi Yao frowned and looked at Lin Yu. She didn't expect that the victim would stand up for Shan Yinran. Even Shun Yinran, who was kneeling on the ground, was stunned. Child Lin, thank you. Thank you. Shun Yinran kept kowtowing. Lin Yu smiled gently and said to Qi Yao, I remember that before Han Bin died, they sent a voice transmission to the Raging Fire Temple. It should be at that time that they let Yin Tian know everything. It has nothing to do with her. Hearing this, Qi Yao couldn't figure out Lin Yu's current actions. It was reasonable to say that he had nothing to do with Shun Yinran, so he didn't need to stand up for her. However, Qi Yao had to consider what Lin Yu said. Child Lin, are you serious? Yes. Lin Yu naturally understood what Qi Yao meant. Now, as long as he showed the attitude of wanting to protect Xin Yinran, Qi Yao would give him face. Sure enough, Qi Yao's face changed slightly, and she nodded. Since you said so, Yinran is innocent. Thank you, Palace Master. Lin Yu bowed with a smile and said, I have one more thing. The Battle of the Princes is about to begin. I have asked the Palace Master to allow me to take Xin Yinran with me. This, Qi Yao didn't expect that Lin Yu would not only plead for her, but also take Xin Yinran with him. Lin Yu obviously didn't give her a chance to refuse, because he had already got Dong Wang Feiyu's consent. In that case, please do as you wish. Thank you. After that, he helped Shun Yinran up. Thank you, child. Shun Yinran looked as if she had just survived a disaster and was grateful to Lin Yu. Lin Yu took her to his residence. Child, do you really believe that I didn't betray the female palace? Xin Yinran suddenly wanted to gain someone's trust. At that moment, she thought of the sister she used to play with, but no one spoke up for her. But she never thought that the person who would help her in the end would be Lin Yu. Of course not. Lin Yu's cold attitude immediately made Shun Yinran fall into an ice cave. However, I did indeed see Erzi's final actions. I also guessed that they were planning to inform Yin Tian. However, Lin Yu walked closer to Shun Yinran. I also know that the people of the Raging Fire Temple did try to rope you in, but your attitude was that you neither agreed nor refused, right? This, Shun Yinran once again fell into the whirlpool of being regarded as a traitor. I just want to leave a way out for myself. Lin Yu said, it's just that you're too stupid. You can't tell who you should really choose. Does young master mean that you want to take me in? Xin Yinran immediately put on a pitiful look. If Yinran can be favored by young master, it would be my good fortune. After that, Xin Yinran leaned on Lin Yu's shoulder. Just then, Yao Gu appeared at the door. Excuse me. Seeing this, Yao Ji's pretty face turned pale subconsciously. After her voice fell, she turned and left the guest hall. Miss Yao Gu, it's not what you think. Xin Yinran immediately explained. Yao Ji's footsteps paused, but she didn't turn around. Instead, she left directly. Young master, go and explain. Xin Yinran immediately said to Lin Yu. However, the latter pinched her pretty face with one hand and pulled it to his mouth. What's there to explain? Didn't you do this on purpose? Facing Lin Yu's half-smile, Xin Yinran panicked. Xin Yinran panicked, and her heart tightened. She increasingly felt that Lin Yu was not an ordinary man. Smelling Lin Yu's scent, Shun Yinran was speechless for a long time. It's still not enough. Lin Yu released his hand and sighed softly. You've seen too few men. You're still not that woman's opponent. That woman? Shen Yanran suddenly guessed that Lin Yu had saved her for a purpose. I want you to come with me to the Emperor's battle and kill a person at the same time. Young master, the Emperor's battle is full of danger. Those who go are all geniuses from the outer domain. Lin Yu had expected her to refuse. He smiled and said, You should understand that with my current power in the female palace, I can bring you out when Qi Yao wants to kill you. I can also bring you back. Young master, I understand. That's good. The person I want you to deal with is called Qingqing, the genius of the Emperor's sect. She's the disciple of Emperor Li Yi of Jixia Library. Don't worry. I don't want you to really deal with her. I just want you to use your method of confusing men to snatch the men around her. Snatch men? Shen Yanran suddenly felt confident. Lin Yu nodded. Something like that. Of course, you can also refuse. No, young master has given me a new lease of life. Yanran is willing. Lin Yu certainly saw through this woman's thoughts. The Emperor's battle was a gathering of geniuses. It was a good opportunity for her to meet important people and rise to the top. Moreover, what Lin Yu wanted her to do was something she was good at. Instead of offending Lin Yu now, she might as well agree. Very good, but you're not her opponent now. Qingqing's ability to deal with men is above yours. Then what should I do? I'll teach you. The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. His right hand circled Shen Yanran's slender waist and exerted some force. Shen Yanran gently pressed against Lin Yu's waist and pressed herself against him. Are you ready? Hearing this, Shen Yanran blushed. Young master, Yanran has never tried. 3 hours later, Lin Yu put away the ink brush and asked, Have you memorized all the techniques I mentioned just now? Shen Yanran's heart was calm and strange. She thought Lin Yu wanted her to give herself to him for saving her life. But Lin Yu only touched her twice and began to teach earnestly. Take your time. Ask me if you don't understand. Lin Yu put away the brush and ink. Remember the people just now, especially Mu Jiujian and Gue Daozi. They're Qingqing's biggest helpers. Shen Yanran nodded. She felt strange. Why does young master know more about how to subdue men than I do? Because I've met many women and they all use these methods. Shen Yanran was shocked. How many women had young master met? But before she could ask, Lin Yu was about to walk out of the hall. Where are you going, young master? You schemed against others. Now I have to coax them? After saying that, the figure had already disappeared. Shen Yanran pouted. I thought you didn't care, but it's been so long. Let's see how you're going to coax them. You and Ge had been sitting by the cliff of the 7th mountain for a long time. Sisters, I wonder where they are now. Have they found a place to stay? She murmured. Suddenly, a slender figure sat beside her. What are you doing here? Don't you need to accompany your new lover? Hearing this, Lin Yu smiled faintly. New lovers are just lovers. Old lovers are still lovers. Chapter 197. Who's your old love? Xiangge was furious. Who's your old love? Only then did she come back to her senses. She knew that she was at a disadvantage when she used the words new love. Wasn't that indirectly admitting that she cared about this guy? Lin Yu smiled faintly. I'm doing something serious. I understand. Xiangge turned her face away and did not look at Lin Yu. Lin Yu sighed in his heart, but he also knew that he still had some things to deal with before the Battle of the Princes. He did not have time to really care about everyone. I have already told Dongwang Feiyu to let you stay in the women's palace. Hearing this, Xiang Ji's body trembled, and she immediately turned around. Why? The power of ice in the women's palace is good for you. This is a good place for you to cultivate. What about you? I'll go to the Battle of the Princes with Shen Yanran. Lin Yu did not hide anything. Lin Yu, you've gone too far. She is the person that King Kailu loves the most. Lin Yu blinked. Don't worry, I won't touch her. Of course, Lin Yu did not think that he had touched her before. She is useful to me. In the Battle of the Princes, there will be someone like her. I really want to see what you women are capable of. Xiangge snorted and said, I'm different from them. Lin Yu naturally understood what she meant. So you let me stay in the women's palace to punish me for being insensible? Xianga suddenly turned gentle and looked at Lin Yu. I know I was wrong, she said again. It didn't matter that Lin Yu ignored her feelings, but Xianggu was more afraid that Lin Yu would leave her behind. Hearing this, Lin Yu touched Xiang Ji's head. He did not expect that the clan leader of the Wind Moon clan would rely on him so much after coming to a strange place. This might be an unexpected surprise after he got out. After all, in the past 100,000 years when he was trapped, he had never had the chance to see Xianggu so lovely. I'm still waiting for you to help me manage my new sect. How could I leave you behind? Lin Yu smiled gently and said, However, you need to be stronger, and this place is your fortune. Follow Dong Wang Fei Yu well, and maybe you can comprehend the things of the Grand Realm in advance. Grand Supreme Stage, Yuinga's eyes shone with longing. Are you sure you don't like the new and dislike the old? Lin Yu shrugged. No, then I believe you. You must come back and find me. I won't go anywhere. I'll wait for you here. Hearing this, Lin Yu nodded. Suddenly, Xiang Ji's pretty face pressed against his lips. On the snow-filled 7th mountain, the two of them cuddled for a while before returning to the palace. Xin Yanran was still absorbing Lin Yu's tips on how to deal with men. When she saw Lin Yu return, she wanted to go up to him, but she immediately saw Yao Ge, who was right beside him. The two of them chatted and laughed, which made Xin Yanran feel something special at her heart. How'd he do it? And Yuinga seemed to be more clingy to Lin Yu. How about you be angry? I need to cultivate in seclusion for a while. You go and find Dongwang Feiyu. Okay. Yuinga nodded obediently. At the same time, she smiled at Xin Yanran. Miss Shun, please take care of young master during this time. Well, okay. Xin Yanran nodded in a daze. Then only she and Lin Yu were left in the hall. Are you so good at coaxing women? Xin Yanran asked curiously. It's none of your business. Lin Yu's cold voice came, which scared Xin Yanran in his silence. Go and guard outside. I need to cultivate in seclusion for a while. After that, I will go to the demon beast forest at the bottom of the sea. Lin Yu had told Xin Yanran in advance that the demon beast forest was the place where the battle of princes would be held. Okay. Xin Yanran did not dare to disobey Lin Yu. She nodded and left the hall. Lin Yu sat down cross-legged, and a crystal blue light spot flew out of his storage ring. Taking a closer look, it was just a block of ice, but in fact, it was the supreme treasure of the Cold Moon Palace, the 10,000-year-old Ice Soul. Everyone thinks that the Transcendent Realm and the Invincible Realm are separated by Yang Qi and Yin Qi, but they don't know that before the Imperial Era, these two realms were originally one. Lin Yu ran the Yang Qi in his body and sped up. In an instant, the surrounding space seemed to be his sun, but the sun quickly changed and a black fire spread on it. It was the Taoist technique of Shumi Grandmaster. Yin and Yang complement each other, and the great Tao is formed. Lin Yu murmured, raised his right hand, and clawed at the ice soul. In an instant, a terrible cold qi quickly seeped out of the ice soul, and in the hall, the fire was compressed by half by the white light. The cold qi continued to merge into Lin Yu's body. In an instant, a second shadow appeared behind Lin Yu, but this shadow didn't look like the sun, but the moon. The sun is Yang, and the moon is Yin. The moment Lin Yu's voice fell, a majestic cold qi rushed to the sky, creating a hole in the hall. In the 4th Mountain's hall, Qi Yao said with a puzzled expression, Second sister, are you saying that eldest sister has already given the ice soul to Master Lin? That's right. Yao Rao nodded, but I don't understand. Master Lin is only in the Transcendent Realm. Why does he need the ice soul? Qi Yao smiled. Maybe it's for the beautiful Miss Yuinga beside him. Humph. Yao Rao was still holding a grudge against Lin Yu for refusing to take her to the imperial battle in front of Dongwang Feiyu. She said coldly, if he really cared about Miss Yuinga, he wouldn't have provoked Xin Yanran, scumbag. As soon as she finished speaking, the entire Cold Moon Palace was suddenly shaken by a loud sound. Rumble. What's that sound? Qi Yao and Yao Rao stepped into the air at the same time, and saw a red and white light pillar rushing to the sky from the seventh mountain, as if connecting the sky and the seventh mountain. "It's from you." After Yao Rao finished speaking, she walked towards the seventh mountain. Shen Yanran? Qiao immediately saw Shen Yanran outside the mountain's hall, who was also shocked at this moment. "What's going on?" It's Master Lin inside," Shen Yanran said in a trembling voice. She didn't expect that Lin Yu's seclusion would cause such a huge commotion. The hall was almost destroyed. "That's the cold aura of the invincible realm." Yao Rao stared at the aura in the hall. "No, it's the transcendent realm. No, it's strange." She suddenly realized that the fluctuation in the hall was a brand new power that contained both yang and yin qi at the same time. Is this the reason why he borrowed the ice soul? Behind the three women, Dongwang Feiyu's figure appeared. At this moment, Dongwang Feiyu's expression was also solemn. "Eldest sister, is that Lin Yu's aura?" Qi Yao asked. Even if she was in the Grand Supreme Realm, she still felt some instinctive pressure in front of this aura. "It should be," Dongwang Feiyu judged. "It's a different transcendent realm aura. It's comparable to the invincible realm's aura. It might even surpass the invincible realm's aura." At this moment, Lin Yu walked out from the hall slowly. The aura on his body had already reached the Three Suns transcendent realm. "Congratulations to Master Lin for breaking through." Dongwang Feiyu bowed. According to her alliance with Lin Yu, the two of them were different from the others. There wasn't any difference in their strengths. Chapter 198. Thank you. Lin Yu nodded casually, but he was still very satisfied with his breakthrough. "The power is too strong, so I directly broke through two small realms." Lin Yu murmured, and Yao Rao asked, "Master Lin's Yao Qi seems to be different from ordinary transcendent realm." It was cold and hot at the same time. Yin and Yang complemented each other. It was too weird. Of course it's different. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Ordinary transcendent realm is just learning the cultivation methods left by the predecessors. However, the things left by the predecessors only provide a reference. If you can't comprehend your own cultivation method, you will never be able to surpass the predecessors. Lin Yu's words made several people nervous. To comprehend the methods left by the predecessors and step into a stronger realm was already as difficult as ascending to the sky for them in the past. So, how could they think of a new method? A new cultivation method? Yao Rao frowned and asked again, "A method that is suitable for cultivation and has no hidden dangers. It will take at least thousands of years to be recognized. How can it be tried so easily? Master is too risky." Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. He could hear the other party's tone. It seemed that the second palace lord was still a little disgusted with him. Lin Yu liked to deal with such women the most. If everyone doesn't dare to try, then the path of cultivation will be like now. Everyone will pursue the strong in the era of emperors, but never think of surpassing them. Surpass the great emperor. Everyone was stunned again. Lin Yu continued. In the endless years in the past, even the 9 emperors had a stronger opponent as their goal. There is a stronger existence than the 9 emperors? Yao Rao's interest was greatly increased. She didn't expect that this lecherous man not only had the ambition to surpass the predecessors, but also had a lot of knowledge. "Of course there is," Lin Yu said firmly, but the others waited for a long time, and he didn't say anything else. "Why don't you continue?" Yao Rao asked anxiously. "Why should I tell you?" Lin Yu glanced at her and turned to Dongwang Feiyu. "I'm sorry for destroying your palace. I didn't expect the power of the 1,000 years ice soul to be so great." "Damn it!" Yao Rao was furious. "You've already absorbed the 10,000-year-old ice soul?" Dongwang Feiyu was a bit surprised and said, "The ice spirit is stronger when it meets a strong opponent. I thought that you would need at least 10 years to completely refine that piece of ice spirit. It seems that Feiyu is ignorant." "A complete ice soul?" Qi Yao and Yao Rao simultaneously exclaimed. Seeing Dongwang Feiyu nod, the two of them were even more shocked. "Even if we were in the state of the 9, unyielding realm back then, we would still need at least 3 years. Chi Yao stared at Lin Yu with wide eyes. What kind of monster was this? No wonder this fellow could possess a treasure like the nirvana fruit. It turned out that his talent was already so monstrous. It's time to bid farewell to the palace lord. Lin Yu had long been accustomed to the shock others gave him. In this life, he was destined to break through all the realms that others didn't even dare to dream of and pursue the supreme great Tao. Everything he had now, such as the 10,000-year-old ice soul, was just a stepping stone that couldn't satisfy him at all. Is young master ready for the battle of the princes? Dongwang Feiyu asked. Lin Yu nodded and looked at Shun Yinran, who couldn't interrupt at all, and said, I'm going to take her there. In order to respect her, Lin Yu still asked Shun Yinran in front of everyone at this moment, Are you willing? Shun Yinran came to her senses this time. She couldn't understand the cultivation and ice spirit that these four people talked about at all. I'm willing. Shun Yinran nodded. As for you, Gu, I'll leave it to you, Palace Lord. Lin Yu smiled again. I have arranged for her to cultivate the bright jade skill, but you promised me. After Dongwang Feiyu finished speaking, Lin Yu interrupted her and said, I will do it. After saying that, he winked at Shun Yinran and prepared to step out of the women's palace. After walking for a few feet, he heard Dongwang Feiyu's voice. Young master's cultivation method is unprecedented. Now that you succeed, your cultivation will naturally improve greatly. But if you fail, what will you do? The voice reverberated. Lin Yu stood with his hands clasped behind his back and replied in the air, Then all your cultivation will be destroyed. He spoke casually, but it caused the hearts of the three palace masters below to tighten. It seemed that Lin Yu had always known the risks, but he still went forward with indomitable will. Thank you, young master. Dongwang Feiyu bowed with a smile, and there was enlightenment in his eyes. Yao Rao completely changed her view of Lin Yu. He was a terrible monster, but when she came to her senses and wanted to ask, Lin Yu and Shun Yinran had already left the women's palace. Young Master Lin's understanding of cultivation is amazing. I didn't expect that the three palace lords would be amazed. On the way, Shun Yinran praised him. Let's go here. The two of them escaped into the void. Shun Yinran felt strange. Although she didn't know where the demonic beast forest was, it shouldn't be near the women's palace. Otherwise, she would have heard of it. Since it was a long way, why didn't Lin Yu even take a warship? But before Shun Yinran asked, she saw a twist in front of her, as if she had entered an unknown transmission array. After a moment of dizziness, the scene in front of her changed. She was already above a sea. Young master, this is Jixiao Library. The demonic beast forest is below. Shun Yinran was shocked. I heard that it takes at least 3 days to travel from the women's palace to the Jixiao Library. How can we don't ask too much about things you shouldn't know? Lin Yu's cold voice came, and Shun Yinran immediately closed her mouth. But she was more sure that she seemed to have discovered a great secret. She must make him tell her. Shun Yinran suddenly felt that this man was much more interesting than others. If Shang Yang and the others were compared with him, it was like a firefly competing with the moon. There was no comparison at all. Welcome, young Master Lin. The guards of the library immediately recognized Lin Yu and took the initiative to come forward to greet him. Hey, why are the people here changed? Lin Yu asked subconsciously. He remembered that the last time he was here, it was not these people. The current guard smiled and said the previous few people, including Captain Hong Tian, offended young Master Lin. They have been ordered to be executed by the Imperial Preceptor. Lin Yu nodded, but he didn't think much of it. Decisive in killing, clear in rewards and punishments. This was the character of the Imperial Preceptor. But Shun Yinran on the side was shocked. She thought that Lin Yu was a nobody. In this high-level sect, she wanted to remind Lin Yu to keep a low profile, but she didn't expect to hear that Jixiao Library had executed their own people for Lin Yu. Was this still a high-level sect? Young Master Lin, please come in. Do you want me to inform the Imperial Preceptor or Elder Jiang? No need. The new guard listened and nodded. Lin Yu walked straight in. The guards at the back immediately whispered, Big brother, should we inform the Imperial Preceptor? The leader shook his head. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear young Master Lin say it's not necessary? Chapter 199. But this is our duty. Idiot. If you dare to offend someone valued by the Imperial Preceptor, I'm afraid you'll end up like those fools. Think about it yourself. Big brother, I understand. In the distance, Lin Yu and Shan Yinran walked away, and the latter asked curiously, Young master, do you really not have a sect? I will have one in the future. Lin Yu answered casually. Shan Yinran nodded, feeling even more puzzled. Then why did even Ji Xiao Library give way to him? Shan Yinran knew she couldn't continue asking. Then, young master, where should we go next? She looked at the crowd around her. They were all dressed in all kinds of clothes and seemed to be here for the Imperial battle. Wait, Lin Yu checked into an inn at random. He also arranged a room for Shan Yinran, but before Lin Yu could sit down, someone came looking for him. May I come in? At the door, a young girl in yellow clothes and tulle stood dignified. This woman's appearance was comparable to Shan Yinran's, and there was a delicate and pitiful look on her face that Shan Yinran didn't have. She was extremely pure and beautiful, and under her snow-white neck, one could see her delicate collarbone. One couldn't help but think, no man would refuse such a beautiful woman. Lin Yu motioned for her to come in, but the woman was surprised. Lin Yu's reaction was too calm. No man could be so calm and cold when seeing her for the first time. Thank you, young master. The woman bowed slightly before entering the room with graceful steps. Lin Yu waved his hand, and the door instantly closed. A man and a woman were alone in a room, but the woman didn't show the slightest fear. Young master is as handsome as the rumors say. The girl spoke again, but Lin Yu smiled faintly. I've been at Ji Xiao Library for less than an hour, but Miss Qing was able to find me. It seems that the rumors are true. Where there are men, there are women. The girl was none other than one of the 3 popular candidates for the Imperial battle, the successor of the Imperial sect, Qing. Young master, you flatter me. Qing's beautiful face was still as pure as water. Young master seems to have guessed that I would come to find you. Lin Yu smiled. The guards of Ji Xiao Library are your men, right? Qing's pretty face slightly changed, but she quickly regained her composure. Why do you say that, young master? Because of the smell. Lin Yu's gaze landed on the other party, sizing her up without any scruples, as if he wanted to see through Qing. Even though she knew how to deal with men, she was caught off guard by Lin Yu's actions. The guards at the door have the same smell as you. Young master, please don't speak nonsense. Qing's watery eyes looked at Lin Yu, as if she was begging for mercy. Those eyes were enough to make any man drunk. However, Lin Yu had seen too many women. Of course I'm not saying that Miss Qing would give herself to a little guard. Lin Yu smiled faintly, as if he understood the other party very well. But Miss only needs to give something casually, even if it's a silk scarf or a handkerchief. It's enough to carry Mrs. Smell. Lin Yu approached Qing again and slowly inhaled. The true essence of the great fragrance charm technique lies in this smell. No words could shake Qing's state of mind. Only the words great fragrance charm technique. How did young master know? Qing's heart tightened, and she couldn't help but ask. Lin Yu knew that from this moment on, the power was in his hands. If you want to know my secret, don't you plan to pay a price? Hearing this, Qing raised her right hand and moved the hair on the right side of her face, revealing her delicate ear. What does young master want? The fragrance wafted over again, but Lin Yu remained unmoved. He held Qing's left hand that was still on the table. After being touched by Lin Yu, Qing subconsciously retracted her hand. Presumptuous! Her pure face was filled with anger, and a chill spread towards Lin Yu's hand that touched her. Crack! Ice instantly condensed. Interesting. This is Miss Qing's first time being touched by a man, right? You. Qing was infuriated. She could casually use her scent to make those stupid men do anything for her. But who knew that it was useless against Lin Yu today? And now, Lin Yu's entire arm had turned into ice, but he was still talking cheerfully. Okay, the game is over. It's time to state your intentions. The moment Lin Yu's voice fell, The ice on his arm shattered at the same time, as if it had never been attacked by the unyielding realm's chill. When this scene fell into Qing's eyes, she was even more shocked. A mere transcendent realm actually dissolved her ice force. It seems like the rumors about young master forcing Jiuxingshan to retreat are true. Qing knew that Lin Yu wasn't easy to deal with, so she said honestly, "I'm here to know if young master is willing to participate in the Battle of the Princes." "I will participate in the Battle of the Princes," Lin Yu said casually. However, it made Qing frown slightly. It seems like someone came to find young master first. Smart. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. "With your intelligence, you should be able to guess who it is." "Tang Xin." Qing blurted out. "Oh." Lin Yu smiled tentatively. Qing explained. "Jiuxingshan and young master have a grudge, so it can't be him. Only Tang Xin has the ability to do so." "Interesting. But a small grudge can't be compared to benefits." Lin Yu deliberately shook his head. Could it be that Jiuxingshan was the one who asked young master to help? Qing wanted to test Lin Yu, but she couldn't see through Lin Yu's emotions. This person's state of mind was terrifyingly firm. "Are you surprised?" The Emperor's sect has already formed an alliance with the Raging Fire Temple. But if the Raging Fire Temple finds another ally, what about the promised benefits? Lin Yu's words pierced Qing like a needle. Impossible. The Raging Fire Temple is still a high-grade sect. So what? The higher the level of existence, the more ambitious they are and the more they value talents. Whether the Raging Fire Temple is like this or not, Miss Qing should know better than me. Lin Yu said word by word. He knew that Qing was flustered, so he continued, "Of course, isn't the Emperor sect the same?" Qing's emotions became even more chaotic, as if Lin Yu had exposed her secret. The Emperor's sect isn't wholeheartedly supporting the Raging Fire Temple. Otherwise, Miss Qing wouldn't be here. Qing frowned and cupped her fists at Lin Yu. "I hope young master won't tell the Raging Fire Temple about what happened today." Lin Yu smiled faintly, neither agreeing nor refusing. This made Qing even more confused. "Miss, why don't you tell me your conditions? Lin Yu might consider it." Lin Yu sipped his tea. "If you and I can't come to an agreement, I will naturally report today's matter to the Raging Fire Temple." "Young master, please wait." Qing immediately interrupted him. "Young master is a great strategist. Naturally, you won't be willing to kneel under the Raging Fire Temple's Jiuxingshan. With young master's current transcendent realm cultivation, you can withstand my invincible realm's cold aura. If young master is given a few more days, his achievements will definitely not be below Jiuxingshan. Then, why should Jiuxingshan become the emperor and the first candidate to inherit the underwater monster forest inheritance?" Chapter 200. Underwater Demon Beast Forest Inheritance. It turned out that the so-called good fortune for Jiuxingshan was referring to the inheritance. Lin Yu calculated in his heart. Indeed, the time for the thing below was up. However, Lin Yu was surprised that Jiuxingshan was a human. How could he inherit the power of that thing? "Young master, have you not heard of this from the Raging Fire Temple?" Qing asked tentatively. Lin Yu remained calm and shook his head. "They said they did, but I'm just curious. How can a demon beast's power merge with a human's? Even the people of the Raging Fire Temple don't seem to know much about this." "Yes, I'm also puzzled about this." Qing sighed. "But even Master has confirmed that the thing at the bottom of the sea has acknowledged Jiuxing Mountain." Her tone was obviously unwilling. "If it's a fair competition, Jiuxingshan may not be a match for me and Tang Xin." Lin Yu smiled faintly. Seeing this, Qing said, "If young master agrees to cooperate with my emperor's sect, there will only be one emperor's position. However, when the time comes, young master can also try to inherit the inheritance." Lin Yu touched his chin. Tang Xin did not mention the demon beast forest. In comparison, Qing seemed more sincere. However, Lin Yu is not a good person. He did not like to make choices. In that case, I'm willing to cooperate. However, I can't help you directly. How about this? When necessary, I will stop the raging fire temple. What do you think, Miss Ching Ching? Ching Ching was surprised that Lin Yu would not help the raging fire temple. She also knew that Lin Yu could not directly offend the raging fire temple. This is enough. Tomorrow, it's up to young master. Ching Ching said her goodbyes and left. In the next room, Shun Yinran quietly came over. Is that Emperor's sex Ching Ching? Lin Yu smiled. What do you think of this opponent? Shin Yinran shook her head. I'm not her opponent. However, why does Yinran feel that young master alone is enough to subdue her? It's just to be safe. Lin Yu said truthfully. Shin Yinran's heart sank. She suddenly felt that she was dispensable. The Great Imperial Disciple Battle isn't limited to the top 3 sections. I'm guessing that many other sects have already come to Jixia Library. The reason why Ching Ching was able to come here in such a short period of time is because there are many sects that are cooperating with her. Shin Yinran suddenly felt a lot of pressure. Young master, who should we cooperate with? D sect, 9 luminaries dragon sealing city. As for the others, it depends on your capabilities. As long as you can get more people than her, my chances of winning will be higher. Lin Yu deliberately said this. Sure enough, after seeing Ching Ching, Shun Yinran's desire to win was stimulated. Young master, I'll go now. After saying that, he disappeared. Lin Yu was left alone in the inn. But not long after, a cold aura enveloped him. As the cold energy changed, it instantly turned into flames. Ice and fire simultaneously shot towards Lin Yu. It seems that although the Great Imperial Disciple battle hasn't started yet, the real game has already begun. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The true sun fire and 10,000-year ice soul in his body circulated at the same time. A black sun and white moon instantly condensed behind him to meet the ice and fire. Rumble. The door of the room was shattered. The ice and fire dissipated. The sun and moon still existed, but they were also taken back by Lin Yu. A figure stood outside the door and stared at Lin Yu in the room in surprise. Interesting. My raging fire temple's ice and fire technique can only be comprehended by those in the invincible realm. You can actually block it? It was not the first time Lin Yu heard the voice of the person who spoke. The corner of his mouth raised. If you're here to test the results of your cultivation, it seems that you're just SOSO. Is that so? The person wanted to attack again, but he was interrupted by a voice. Brother Lin, you're really here? Green grass ran up the stairs and only saw a black shadow flash by. Who is it? Green grass was startled, but the black shadow had already disappeared, leaving only Lin Yu there. Brother Grass? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. He did not expect to see green grass here. Brother Lin, what was that just now? Green grass looked around. It was obvious that there had been a fight here. Just a bored person. Lin Yu smiled faintly, not minding it at all. That person seemed to be very strong. Brother Lin, did you offend someone? Lin Yu could not help but shrug. Lin Yu has offended too many people to count. Green grass was not worried that Lin Yu would implicate her. Brother Lin, this place is not safe. Our battle sex people are also here. Why don't you come to my place? Brother Lin, you can leave as you wish after the arch battle is over tomorrow. Lin Yu touched his chin and looked at the broken wood on the ground. He nodded. It's not good to live here. As soon as he finished speaking, he was pulled away by green grass. Wait, I brought someone with me this time. Lin Yu reminded her that Shun Yinran had not returned yet. Green grass was stunned. Lin Yu felt helpless and smiled. It seems that Brother Grass is not here to find me. Green grass scratched the back of her head. Brother Lin, you misunderstood. Heroes are short-tempered, and love is long. I understand. Lin Yu casually replied. He was too lazy to care about other people's love affairs. When they arrived at the battle sect, the place where these large sects lived was naturally much better than Lin Yu's. Everyone, this is Brother Lin Yu that I mentioned to you before. Green grass passionately introduced Lin Yu to the battle sex people. I am Ho Ji, Green grass second senior brother. A short and thin man said with a smile. It's our first time meeting. I don't have anything to give Brother Lin. After speaking, he was about to take something out of his chest, but was stopped by Lin Yu. Brother Ho is too polite. It's not convenient for the things in my chest to see the light. Let's wait until the night is quiet and we are fated to talk. How did Brother Lin know? Hearing this, Hoji was stunned for a moment before he was overjoyed. Haha, so Brother Lin Yu is also a kindred spirit. Cough. Another man glanced at Hoji. Do you think everyone is as lustful as you? That person was tall and burly, but there was a sense of righteousness between his brows. I am Fatty Dun. Is young Master Lin hungry? Lin Yu smiled gently. Green Grass immediately explained, Brother Lin, please don't blame him. My senior brother just likes to cook for others. I understand, but I'm not hungry for the time being. Lin Yu had met these people before. The three in front of him were the three people with the highest seniority in the battle sect. The battle sect was named after battle, but the disciples inside were exceptionally peaceful. This was also the reason why the disciples of the battle sect were often bullied outside. May I ask if young Master Lin Yu is inside? Suddenly, a few voices came from outside. Lin Yu patted his head. Since he came to Jisha Book Pavilion today, he had not stopped socializing. The four of them came out together and saw that there were hundreds of people outside. Although these people's cultivation was not high and none of them were in the unconquerable realm, their large number attracted attention. Who is Lin Yu? The leader of the group had a ferocious look. Brother Lin, don't panic. Let me. Green Grass stepped forward. If there's anything, come at me. Seeing this, the hundreds of people thought that Green Grass was Lin Yu and bowed in unison. Subordinate greets young Master Lin Yu. Chapter 201. His voice was so loud that it rang in everyone's ears. At this moment, whether it was Green Grass, Hoji, or the others, they were all stunned. Green Grass was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. He had never seen so many people worshiping him in his life. Brother Lin, this. Lin Yu coughed dryly and vaguely guessed the reason. Who sent you? Lin Yu asked. When the other party heard Green Grass's words, they also understood that this was the real Lin Yu. We were invited by Miss Shan Yinran to join young Master Lin's side in the Battle of the Princes. Hearing this, Green Grass was stunned. Yinran brought him here? That's right. The leader of the other party nodded. Miss Yinran is approachable, beautiful, and intelligent, unlike Miss Qingqing. We have already decided to follow her. Miss Yinran said that her brother, Lin Yu, is also in the city. We are here to look for him. Brother, Lin Yu's face twitched. Had this group of people been driven crazy by Shen Yinran? His surname was Lin, and hers was Shun. Did no one suspect this? Miss Yinran said that young Master Lin is her half-brother. She also told us all the sad things that happened when she was young. Those who heard it were sad, and those who listened shed tears. After that, the 100 people on the other side felt a sense of sadness. Hundreds of people will arrive later. This time, we must help young Master Lin Yu and Yinran win the Battle of the Princes to fulfill the wishes of your parents before they left. Lin Yu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How many lies did Shun Yinran tell outside? He had even sacrificed himself in the process. Brother Lin, so you are Yinran's brother. Green Grass looked at Lin Yu in shock. The latter cursed in his heart. Sure enough, the more beautiful a woman was, the more people would believe her. It's a long story, Lin Yu said helplessly. Green Grass hurriedly held Lin Yu's hand. So Brother Lin has such a background. I didn't know at first. Yinran, she is too pitiful. Lin Yu chuckled. He guessed that Green Grass had fallen into the girl's emotional trap again. She was obviously not pitying him. Shen Yinran coughed. Where's my sister now? Lin Yu asked. Young lady, you're still making friends. I reckon that more people will be moved by young lady's actions. Hearing this, Lin Yu sighed. It seemed that if she had not been stimulated by Qingqing's visit, Shen Yinran would not have been able to display her potential. While talking, Lin Yu arranged for the rest of the people to live here. The originally weak Do Zone group naturally did not object to this. Instead, they were extremely happy. Chao Lu, I didn't expect you to know such a big shot like young Master Lin. That's right. Wait for me to cook a delicious meal to reward everyone. Hoji and the fat kid said one after another. Green grass was overjoyed. I didn't expect that Brother Lin and I would have such fate. In the room, only Lin Yu was left. It was getting late, and Lin Yu had recovered from his cultivation. My cultivation is in the three-sun transcendent realm, but my body and spiritual sense are still a little short of breaking through to two-Sunday. It seems that I need to focus on these two in the following time. His body was now balanced. Although the three realms in one realm allowed Lin Yu to challenge those of a higher realm, the biggest problem was that the three powers could not be too different. Once the balance was lost, Lin Yu's cultivation would lose its advantage. There are some things in the monster beast forest that may help me break through my body and spiritual sense. Lin Yu judged. At this time, Xin Yanran came back. My good sister, you've broadened my horizons. Lin Yu teased. Xin Yanran turned her face away. It's all because you taught me well. I think you've surpassed your master. How many people are out there now? More than 400. This is already Yanran's limit. Xin Yanran said with grievance. The rest said that they had promised the Emperor's sect in advance. They are worried that if they go back on their words now, the Emperor's sect will find trouble with them in the future. Lin Yu nodded. As expected. It's fine. It's enough. Master's aura has become much stronger. As soon as Shun Yanran came in, she felt another masculine power filling the entire room. She said subconsciously, I just finished my cultivation. Suddenly, Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. Nothing. You can go out first. After listening, Shun Yanran guessed something. She nodded and left. The night was like ink sprinkling through the window. Lin Yu said outside, Why do you always like to come in through the window? Sure enough, the window opened, and a beautiful figure appeared in front of Lin Yu. Tang Xian heard that you are here, so I came to see you. Lin Yu smiled faintly. And Tang Xian paused. Although she was not as enchanting as Shun Yanran or as pure as Qing Qing, there was a kind of stubbornness and determination between her brows. She was very much like Sword Fanatic. Also, I wanted to see if you have changed your mind. She directly expressed her doubts because she knew how powerful Lin Yu was. Beating around the bush would make him even more disgusted. Indeed, Lin Yu had a better impression of her. This girl's personality seemed to be more likable than Qing Qing's. Of course, Lin Yu remembered that Qing Qing's reaction was stronger than Tang Xian's. But that was something that happened after being trapped for 100,000 years. Why do you think that I've changed my mind? Lin Yu stared at Tang Xian. The latter lowered her head slightly. Today, Master came to see Qing Qing, Jiao Xingshan, and many people from low-level sections. Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. Continue. Tang Xian nodded. With Master's current power, you could be considered the fourth power outside of the three high-level sections. Lin Yu looked at her with interest. Your ally's power has increased. Are you not happy? No. Tang Xian shook her head. It's just that I am worried that the conditions I promised before will not be able to satisfy Master. She was referring to the matter of Dragon Sealing City of Navagraha, helping Lin Yu get the recognition of his new sect. Then you are underestimating me. Lin Yu stood up and walked to the window. Under the moonlight, his sharp features were reflected. Lin Yu has promised, so he will not go back on his word. Unless Dragon Sealing City of Navagraha goes back on their word. How could that be? Tang Xian hurried forward. Tang Xian promised Master that after the matter is settled, I will help Master establish a sect. Whenever Master needs me, Tang Xian will appear. When Lin Yu touched his chin. Perhaps soon. Qing Qing. Tang Xian stopped. Speak. Did Qing Qing tell Master anything? Of course. Lin Yu turned around and smiled faintly. Can Master tell Tang Xian? She said. Lin Yu looked at Tang Xian. She said that 3 inches below your waist, there's a mole the size of a grain of rice. Master. Tang Xian's face turned red. She can't possibly know about this. Chapter 202. Haha, I'm just spouting nonsense. Lin Yu teased. Before the big battle, it felt good to reminisce about the beauties of the past. It's late. Miss Tang, do you want to stay with Lin Yu or go home to sleep? Tang Xin was speechless for a long time. Young master, please keep the mole a secret. With that, she jumped out of the window and left. Lin Yu leaned against the window. The moonlight was perfect. He couldn't help but think of the people from the Four Directions galaxy. They should be here soon. Unconsciously, Lin Yu was surprised that he actually missed them. Could it be that after escaping, his once indifferent state of mind began to change? If I become a person with feelings, there will be more and more things to worry about in the future. Lin Yu suddenly felt uneasy. He reminded himself that his path was different from others. He was destined to step on countless corpses and reach an unprecedented level. He shouldn't have feelings. At dawn, when Lin Yu got up, he saw that everyone had gathered downstairs. Greetings, young Master Lin. When they saw Lin Yu coming down, they greeted him in unison. Xin Yinran walked over obediently and pulled Lin Yu's arm. Big brother, you're up. Let's go. Lin Yu looked at her. Obviously, she had gotten up early in the morning to calm everyone down. Everyone immediately left the inn. As soon as they came out, they heard a loud noise. Then, a series of dizziness surged up from the ground. Earthquake. Xin Yinran couldn't stand steadily in a panic. She quickly supported Lin Yu, but because of that, she had physical contact with Lin Yu. Xin Yinran blushed at this, but she didn't do it on purpose. Young master, what's going on? Xin Yinran asked. Feeling the softness of his arm, Lin Yu raised his head and pointed in a direction. Everyone saw at the same time that the sky seemed to be pressing down on the island. The sky is falling. Xin Yinran was shocked. The others were also worried. What are you thinking? It's the rise of the island. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. The underwater demonic beast forest is right below. The tremors stopped, and everyone came to the edge of Jixia Library. Sure enough, everyone gasped. In the sky, the island is flying. Below them, the edge of the island had become a ring-shaped waterfall. The surging seawater poured into the additional depressions, reverberating with a deafening sound. Below, there was a cold and dark forest, as if it was shrouded in a layer of mist. Only the outer shell of the forest could be vaguely seen. That's the underwater demonic beast forest, the location of the battle between the princes. While everyone was still in shock, hundreds of sects gathered one after another. Of course, the most eye-catching ones were the people from the three great sects: Raging Fire Temple, Yin Tian, Jiuxing Mountain. The dozens of Raging Fire Temple members behind them all exuded the aura of transcendent realm and above. On the other side, Emperor sects Qing Qing and Sect Master Shinsui appeared at the same time. Accompanying them were Emperor sect's disciples. However, most of the people beside Qing Qing were men. These people's gazes fell on Qing Qing from time to time, as if they respected her greatly. However, there was also greed and desire in their eyes. 9 luminaries Dragon Sealing City's people are here, too. Xin Yinran reminded Lin Yu beside her. Compared to the lineup of the other sects, 9 luminaries Dragon Sealing City seemed to be much thinner. Fortunately, the City Lord Xiao Mo's aura was extremely strong, not inferior to Yin Tian and Shinsui. This also made 9 luminaries Dragon Sealing City's aura not much weaker. According to the rules of the battle between princes, each sect can only send 1 invincible realm expert. Lin Yu has the strength of an invincible realm expert. Do you think he can be trusted? Xiao Mo asked Tang Xin beside him in a low voice. The latter nodded. Young Master Lin should be trustworthy. You also have to make other plans. If you're really not his opponent, then wait for the next battle between princes. Tang Xin nodded, but there was some unwillingness in her eyes. If she waited for the next battle, Jiuxing Shan would have left her far behind. Martial Dao cultivation progressed by leaps and bounds. She had to seize every opportunity. Thinking of this, Tang Xin could not help but glance at Lin Yu, only to see the latter chatting intimately with Xin Yinran beside him. She could not help but be speechless. The 3 high-level sects had gathered, and countless small sects had already gathered here. At this moment, in the sky, a 30-foot wide stone platform flew into the sky. On the stone platform, the Imperial Preceptor was in front, and Elder Jiang was beside him. They stood with their hands behind their backs and looked down. Jishao Library is fortunate to be chosen as the location of this battle between princes. I, Li Yi, am honored that all the prodigies from the outer regions have gathered in my sect. Li Ye's voice resounded in all directions. Other than a few important figures, everyone else was excited. This is a true grand event. Shun Yinran murmured. Young master, are we going to go there later? She pointed at the churning sea below, feeling extremely nervous. Lin Yu nodded. Let's see what rules Li Yi. No, the inner region and core region have set for the battle between princes. After listening, Li Ye's voice sounded again. This time, the battle between princes will be based on the slaughter of beasts. Killing a Samsara realm beast will give you 1 point, a transcendent realm beast will give you 5 points, and an unresolvable realm beast will give you 10 points. In addition, Li Ye's voice sank. Killing a human will give you the points in the other party's hands. The beasts in the underwater beast forest all have beast pearls on them. That is the proof of the points. As soon as his voice came out, it immediately caused an uproar. What does that mean? Doesn't that person get the most? Yes, only by killing a person with a large number of beast pearls, then the points will increase exponentially. Damn it, I give up. If those people from Jiuxing Mountain kill, how can we, the low-level sects, fight back? This is simply sending us to our deaths. Not only did the low-level sects have endless objections, even many people behind Lin Yu were in a mess. Imperial Preceptor, the rules this time are too disadvantageous for us low-level sections. The sect master level figure questioned Li Yi. This matter is decided by the core region personally. Li Yi closed his eyes and didn't need to say a second word. The word core region already contained everything. The Emperor's sect gave the order. Why is this battle between princes so cruel? My 7 mysteries sect withdraws. My godly travel island withdraws as well. Yes, rather than die, it's better not to go. Jiuxing Mountain looked down, especially at Lin Yu's direction. The position of a high-level sect, like the Raging Fire Temple, was higher than Lin Yu and the others. At this moment, Jiuxing Mountain looked down at Lin Yu, Do Zong, and the others with a smile. If you're afraid of death, you can get lost now. As soon as these words came out, except for Lin Yu, everyone around him was shocked. Jiuxing Mountain seems to be targeting us. Oh no, does he have any grudges with young Master Lin? The situation is not good. It's better not to get involved in this muddy water. The people around Lin Yu had already begun to move and wanted to leave. Only Qing Qing and Tang Xian, after seeing Jiuxing Mountain's attitude towards Lin Yu, confirmed Lin Yu's words in their hearts. As expected, young Master Lin and the Raging Fire Temple have turned against each other. Qing Qing thought in her heart and quietly clenched her fist. Young Master Lin gave up the Raging Fire Temple for my Emperor's sect. Later, it's my turn to show my sincerity. On the other side, Tang Xian was also certain the enemy of an enemy is a friend. Young Master Lin is a trustworthy friend. Jiuxing Mountain's words made the atmosphere tense. However, this sentence also made Lin Yu's mouth curl up, and his heart bloomed with joy. Li Yi coughed dryly. All right, those who don't want to go down can leave now. This old man will not stop you. The rest of you, prepare to enter the demon beast forest. Chapter 203. Li Ye's voice spread in all directions, and in an instant, the fog below shook, forming a vortex. It was like an entrance, the entrance to the demon beast forest. But at this moment, the people on the island gradually left. Most of them were low-level sects, which were even lower-class sections. Miss Yanran, we don't want to die. You and your brothers wish. We can't accompany you. That's right. If we go there, we'll be killed by the high-level sects to score points. Xin Yanran originally wanted to persuade them to stay, but Lin Yu raised his hand. Everyone has their own aspirations. Lin Yu won't say any more nonsense. Everyone, please. Hearing this, The group of timid people had already left. Young master, why? Lin Yu smiled faintly. The most taboo is to use people's hearts. It's better for them to leave now than to enter timidly and disturb the morale. Wouldn't that be more troublesome? Moreover, you're not the only one who lost a follower. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and looked in Qing Qing's direction. Xin Yanran looked over and saw that Qing Qing's people had also decreased. But those were not the emperor's sect's people, but the scattered cultivators who followed the emperor's sect or Qing Qing. Most of them were of the same nature as the people Shan Yanran brought. At this moment, they were also afraid of being killed in the battle between the three major sections. This emperor's battle is simply aimed at us low-level sections. Sigh, forget it. The strong eat the weak. The strong are respected. This is the iron law of the world. We can't resist. For a time, less than half of the people were left. But Shun Yanran, Do Zong, and the others knew that the remaining people were the strongest. The emperor's preceptor has eliminated many people before he even made a move. Hoshi judged. The fat guy nodded. Survival of the fittest, Brother Lin, Miss Shun. When we enter the demon beast forest, we must remember to follow the other party closely. Shin Yanran nodded and pulled Lin Yu's arm closer. In this regard, everyone was used to it. Yanran is so close to Brother Lin, she really lacks a sense of security. Unfortunately, Brother Lin is only her brother. Green Grass thought so. Soon, many other sects began to jump into the vortex. Let's go too. After Lin Yu finished speaking, he and Shun Yanran stepped down from the sky. Everyone followed closely behind, passing through the thick mist and finally landing in the humid forest. This is the underwater demonic beast forest. I've heard that the demonic beast forest is the most dangerous place in the Outland, but no one knows where it is. That's right. If it weren't for this battle of the princes, we wouldn't have had the chance to come here. Everyone looked around at their surroundings. The sky here was hazy with mist, unlike the sunlight in the outside world. In the darkness, there were gray trees that towered several feet high. However, many of the trees were broken. Looking at the broken parts, Lin Yu and the others immediately determined that this was caused by demonic beasts. Everyone, be careful. The fat kid was the oldest among them, so he cautioned cautiously. This should be the outer region, and demonic beasts rarely pass through here. However, if we head further in that direction, we will reach the inner region, where samsara, staged demonic beasts will gradually appear. Lin Yu said faintly, while the rest of the people were still looking around. Brother Lin, you seem to know this place very well. Greengrass said in surprise. Everyone looked at him in the same way. I just read some ancient books about the demonic beast forest in advance. Lin Yu said perfunctorily. Although this place had never been opened in the 100,000 years he had been trapped, Lin Yu had read many secrets from the confidential documents in Jixiao Library. At that time, he had only read it as a hobby. Who knew that he would come down one day? Everyone listened, but now was not the time to ask more questions. They followed the direction Lin Yu pointed out and walked forward step by step. In front of them, the people from Raging Fire Temple had already entered the inner region. Big Brother, the Lin Yu you hate, seems to be outside. A middle-aged man with a cold face, wearing a long robe made of talismans and holding a samsara staged demonic beast in his hand, said, Gui Dao, where are the others? Jiuxing Shan asked. The man in the talisman robe was Raging Fire Temple's junior brother, the second in command of the Raging Fire Nine Sons, Gui Dao Zi. Gui Dao Zi closed his eyes. In an instant, talismans flew over from the surrounding sky. Qing Qing and the rest are in the east, while Tang Xin is in the south. They have also entered the inner region. Jiuxing Shan nodded and stared in one direction. I'll go in first and get the most important thing before dealing with the rest. Raging Fire Temple disciples, listen up. Split into two groups. One group will follow me, and the other will follow Gui Dao Zi. Gui Dao Zi immediately understood what he meant. Big Brother, are we going to do it now? Those who are in the way will be eliminated sooner or later. Jiuxing Shan stared in Lin Yu's direction and said coldly, I'll leave it to you. Don't leave anyone alive. However, that brat Lin Yu's battle power is not below yours. We managed to avoid those fire bats when we passed by. We can avoid them, but Lin Yu and the rest, you know what to do, right? Gui Dao Z raised his right hand, and a flame burned at his palm. There are many fire bats, although they are only at the Samsara realm. If they attack together, I'm afraid that not many of Lin Yu's group will be able to make it here alive. Moreover, they like fire. This ball of flame will be Lin Yu and that bunch of trash from the Dozong sect. That's right. If we kill Han Bin and Shang Yang, we can forget about leaving here alive. Lin Yu wants to stand up for those bitches from the Cold Moon Palace. Let's see if he has the ability to continue protecting them. The other Raging Fire Nine Sons said in unison. Zhu Xingshan smiled. I'll leave it to you guys. With that, he led the group into the center of the demonic beast forest. At the same time, Lin Yu and the rest, who were already close to the inner part of the forest, saw a line of densely packed words flashing across the sky. Is that a ranking of points? Xin Yanran whispered beside Lin Yu in shock. The current first place is Zhou Xingshan's 10 points. In such a short time, Zhou Xingshan killed so many demonic beasts. Qing Caolu shook her head in disbelief. However, the second place following Zhou Xingshan was Qing Qing with 9 points, and the third place was Tang Xian with 8 points. I'm guessing that the rest of the three sects have gathered their points into the hands of these three people. It must be so. The fat kid and Hoji guessed. The people from the Dozong sect had already decided to give the beast pearls to the fat kid. As for Lin Yu's group, because of Shun Yinran's relationship, they naturally planned to hand it over to Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu's aura was only at the Three Suns Transcendent Realm. This was much weaker than the others. Even Qing Caolu was at least at the Four Suns Transcendent Realm. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Yu was Shun Yinran's brother, their current thoughts would have long been unconvinced by Lin Yu. The reason why the Imperial Preceptor created the ranking is more interesting to me. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Chapter 204. Now that everyone's points were on the ranking, the higher the points, the greater the rewards for killing them. Wasn't this speeding up the process of them killing each other? Hearing Lin Yu's words, everyone fell into deep thought. Some were even glad that they weren't on the ranking list. As long as we keep a low profile and don't get on the ranking list, it's fine. Some of them thought so. However, all of a sudden, sporadic flames appeared in front of them. Why are there flames floating in the sky? Everyone approached curiously. However, the flames were also approaching them. In fact, there were even more of them. 30, 80, 100, 300. Oh no, it's the demonic beasts. Samsara realm. It's fine. Something's wrong. There are too many of them. Most of them were in the transcendent realm. Naturally, they weren't that afraid. However, when the fire bats flapped their wings and charged towards them, they were already in a mess. Retreat. Run. Why are we running? They're just in the Samsara realm. A few of them were in high spirits. Their bodies burned with the yang aura of the transcendent realm as they charged towards the fire bats. In an instant, a few fire bats died in their hands. Just a bunch of weak beasts. The few of them smiled confidently. However, in the next moment, their expressions changed drastically. That was because the fallen fire bats flew up again. They even had their yang aura flames in their mouths. Damn it! These demonic beasts will devour our yang aura. Retract your aura. Retreat. Someone ordered. However, once they retracted their yang aura, the fire bats became even more unrestrained. They instantly devoured the few of them. We can't win. Retreat. It's over. There are 300 demonic beasts. They will be devoured until not even their bones are left. Even if you're in the transcendent realm, you'll only be courting death. Seeing this, Caolu immediately shouted to the fat guy. As expected, the fat guy had already taken a step forward. I'll let you have a taste of my icy aura. The fat guy circulated his cultivation. Cold aura condensed in his hands, and 2 icy pillars shot out. The fire bats seemed to have met their nemesis. They immediately turned around and formed a bat wall in an orderly manner. What's that? The fat guy felt that something was amiss. He increased his icy aura. At the same time, the 300 fire bats on the bat wall opened their mouths. Waves of sound waves were shot out. The 300 sound waves converged and collided with the fat kid's frost energy. There was a loud rumble. The shock waves from the battle resounded in all directions. The ice shards scattered in all directions, but they were all reflected back by the sound waves. Fortunately, the few people who were previously trapped took the opportunity to run over. However, amidst the shock waves of the battle, each and every one of them spat out blood and sustained heavy injuries. Even the fat kid gritted his teeth and circulated his frost energy again. A wall of ice suddenly rose from the ground and blocked all the flying ice shards. Rumble. The second sound wave converged and the ice wall shattered. The fat kid felt a sweet taste in his throat and blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. He retreated a few steps into the crowd. Senior brother, Green Grass and Ho Ji immediately came over. Damn it, he's quite powerful. The fat kid raised his hand, indicating that he was fine. However, he knew that with his ability, it seemed that he would not be able to defeat this group of fire bats. The strength of the sound wave is comparable to that of the unyielding realm. As soon as the fat youth said this, everyone's hearts turned cold. A dozong is already the strongest combat power here. If they can't do it, won't we die here? If I knew earlier, I would have hidden from the beginning. This group of bastards can restrain all transcendent realms. It's not something we can fight against. Just when they wanted to retreat, Shen Yinran subconsciously looked at Lin Yu. Master, do you have any ideas? She was the only one who felt that Lin Yu was the most powerful person here from the very beginning. Yinran, your brother is only in the Three Suns transcendent realm. What ideas can he have? That's right. Let's run. We can't defeat this group of bastards. However, Shun Yinran remained silent. She only saw Lin Yu's eyes shining. 300 points. There are 300 points here, Lin Yu murmured. He wanted to find this group of fire bats from the beginning. Who was the one who sent them here, so politely? A dozong is just SOSO. What, Lin Yu? I think Big Brother was not in a good state that day. He actually said that he couldn't defeat him and was even injured by Lin Yu. In the dark, Ghost Daoist said to the two blazing fire 9 suns beside him. Behind them, there were more than 30 people, all transcendent realm masters, ready to ambush Lin Yu and his group here. However, they didn't expect that the other party couldn't even deal with the fire bats in the first round. Many people in Lin Yu's group were ready to leave. Even the Dozong's green grass pulled Lin Yu. Brother Lin, if we don't leave now, it will be too late. Why should we leave? Lin Yu was puzzled. Green grass was anxious. Even my senior brother can't defeat these beasts. They also restrain the transcendent realm's yang energy. We have no chance of winning. Even the people brought by Shun, Yinran advised. Yinran, tell your brother not to be stupid. Yes, where there is life, there is hope. It won't be too late for us to go around and enter the inner area. Yinran, they saw Shun Yinran holding Lin Yu's hand tightly. If my brother doesn't leave, I won't leave. Shin Yinran didn't know why, but at this moment, with her woman's sixth sense, she felt that following Lin Yu was the safest. Brother and sister are so close. Green grass was touched. Brother Lin, Yinran, I will stay with you. Green grass, don't be silly. I only agreed to go with you because I was teasing you. At this time, Shin Yinran really didn't want to play with green grass anymore. Your cultivation is not as good as mine. It's useless to stay. Let's go. Green grass paused for a moment. Lin Yu let go of Shun Yinran's hand. Wait for me here. He said to Shun Yinran's blushing ear, cover your ears. Brother Lin, you can't. Before green grass could persuade him, Lin Yu had already flown out and faced the fire bats flying towards them at the same time. Oh no, Yinran, I'm afraid your wish won't come true. Sigh, your brother is so impulsive. How can he do great things? Everyone complained, but Shin Yinran still didn't move. She only covered her ears when Lin Yu spoke. Young master is so powerful. He must have a way. She thought to herself. In front, Lin Yu's eyes were shining. This saves a lot of trouble. The sound waves of the fire bats came again. Lin Yu's clothes fluttered without wind. Everyone saw that Lin Yu was facing 300 fire bats at the same time and was about to be swallowed by the sound waves of the fire bats, and they felt pity in their hearts. Except for Shun Yinran. Everyone else had already regarded Lin Yu as a dead man. At this moment, a vortex suddenly appeared behind Lin Yu. Then a 3-foot-long dragon-head phantom lowered its head and came out of the vortex. What kind of cultivation technique is that? This aura is so strong. Even though the others were some distance away from Lin Yu, they were still shocked by the awe-inspiring power of the dragon head. Chapter 205. They saw. The dragon head was originally looking down at the ground with its eyes closed as if it was in a deep sleep. But at this moment, Lin Yu raised both his hands, and a complicated ancient circular array flashed across the vortex. The moment the array rotated, the dragon head suddenly opened its eyes and raised its head. An ancient and mighty dragon roar came out like a tsunami. The trees in all directions were all broken in an instant. Even the group of people behind Lin Yu kept moving back as they were forced back by the dragon roar. In front of Lin Yu, the sound wave from the fire bats was destroyed by the dragon roar like a wave being swallowed by a tsunami. Along with the 300 fire bats, all of their bodies stiffened and fell to the ground with a crash. They couldn't be more dead. Beast pearls the size of a finger flew out from the fire bats and were all sucked away by Lin Yu. On a distant tree, the old tree that Ghost Taoist and the rest were standing on was also broken. The group of people were directly shaken down by the dragon roar. What's going on? The fire bats are all dead. Lin Yu nodded with satisfaction. At the same time, Lin Yu's name was originally at the bottom of the rankings in the sky and could not be seen. But at this moment, it suddenly shot up. That is, in the east of the inner area, Qing raised her head and looked at Lin Yu's name in a daze. 500, 100, 38, 4. Then, he directly surpassed her on Tang Xian and reached the same height as Jiu Shan. Before she could react, Lin Yu's name shot up again and surpassed Jiu Shan. First, Lin Yu, 300 points. What did he do? Qing only felt her throat dry up and couldn't speak for a long time. In the south, Tang Xian's 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City team was also shocked by the changes in the sky. Did young Master Lin poke the nest of the demonic beasts? Tang Xian was surprised and happy, increased the speed of killing the beasts, and moved towards the central area. At this moment, near the central area, Jiu Shan cursed, Damn it! What are those idiots from Ghost Taoist doing? In front of him, 3 demonic beasts suddenly roared. An unyielding demonic beast. Jiu Shan's face darkened. The demon cave is right in front of us. Carve out a path for me. Eldest senior brother, that ranking, the blazing 9 sons behind him reminded him. Don't worry about it. Once I get the inheritance, I'll kill everyone in this demonic beast forest. Jiu Shan said coldly. Even the people from the raging fire temple shuddered when they heard it. In the inner reaches, Lin Yu returned to the group. What awaited him was the astonishment of everyone. Brother, you're awesome. Shun Yinran reacted first and hugged Lin Yu directly. It seemed that under this fake sibling relationship, her contact with Lin Yu was much less restricted. Lin Yu smiled and hugged Shun Yinran's waist tightly. You're too immersed in the role, he reminded her, and Shun Yinran immediately let go of him with a red face. Yinran, I didn't know your brother was so powerful. Yeah, if that move just now was on us, I don't think many of us would be able to withstand it. With young Master Lin leading us, we definitely have the capital to compete with the 3 major sects this time. Regarding this, Shun Yinran just glanced at them and directly showed her dissatisfaction. Didn't you just say that my brother was courting death? After saying that, she pulled Lin Yu's hand again. It was obvious that Lin Yu had given her a lot of pride and satisfaction. We can understand this. Yeah, if we could see young Master Lin's depth, wouldn't we be about the same as Jiao Shan? I finally understand why Jiao Shan targeted Brother Lin just now. This is a game between evenly matched opponents. For a time, the evaluation of Lin Yu rose among the crowd. However, the latter still had a non-committal look. Now that I have enough points, what I'm interested in is the inheritance of that thing. Lin Yu thought in his heart and looked up at the sky. On the ranking list, Jiao Shan's ranking rose again. It jumped by 10 points in one go. Lin Yu smiled gently. 10 points represented an invincible realm demon beast. And in this demon beast forest, the invincible realm demon beast was only in the central area. He guessed that Jiao Shan had already reached the demon cave. Jiao Shan thought that only he knew the secret of the demon cave. However, no one would have thought that Lin Yu already knew all the secrets when he was trapped on the same day. I'll go ahead and take a look. You guys play first. Lin Yu just wanted to say to Shun Yanran and the others. But at this time, a cold wind suddenly blew around them. Hee, since you're here, don't be in a hurry to leave. A sinister voice came from all directions. Except for Lin Yu, everyone felt a chill down their spine. Are you a human or a ghost? Come out. Hoji roared. As soon as the voice came out, a pile of yellow talismans fell from the sky like snowflakes. What's that? Talismans? Someone caught one in his hand. Lin Yu shrugged helplessly and blew lightly. That talisman instantly flew out of his hand. At the same time, the talisman exploded with a bang. Wah! That person was so scared that he fell to the ground. If it wasn't for Lin Yu, he would probably be dead by now. Thank you, young Master Lin. Swallowing his saliva, that person said with trepidation. Interesting. You can actually see through the mystery of this ghost talisman. The cold voice resounded once again. Lin Yu's expression was calm, but the others were still in shock from the explosion of the talisman just now. This, young Master Lin, could it be that the other talismans will also explode? A group of people hurriedly asked Lin Yu. They will all explode? Of course not. Ghost Taoist, that brat, still needs at least 30 years to reach this level. Lin Yu smiled disdainfully. In the darkness, a voice immediately came. Stinking brat, you dare to look down on me? The corner of Lin Yu's mouth raised. A suction force appeared in his right hand, and one of the talismans that filled the sky immediately appeared in his hand. With a flick of his finger, that talisman shot out and drowned in the darkness. In an instant, everyone heard a rumbling sound and flames burst into the sky. Following that, there were waves of painful wails. Damn it, Ghost Taoist, why did your talisman come back? It's none of my business. It's Lin Yu. Ghost Taoist cursed. From the darkness, the raging fire temple was filled with wails. He pointed at Lin Yu. Bastard, how did you know which talisman would explode? They ran out one after another. The Dozong group couldn't help but laugh. But in their hearts, they admired Lin Yu even more. So it's the raging fire temple's doing. Ghost Taoist, I've heard of that person before. He's the second of the raging fire to 9 sons. Ghost Taoist's face was cold. He hadn't even made a move yet, but he had already suffered from Lin Yu. As expected, this brat is not easy to deal with. He snorted angrily. Since that's the case, then I'll kill you openly. Lin Yu frowned. Was he going to waste time again? But at this time, green grass held his hand. Brother Lin, you go first. Leave this to us. Chapter 206. Really, don't worry. If we can't even deal with these second-rate forces of the raging fire temple, how can we help Yanran achieve her wish? The people behind him answered Lin Yu one after another. In addition, Lin Yu's casual attack had already injured many people from the raging fire temple. This made them even more confident. In that case, I'll leave first. Lin Yu did not delay. Damn it, leave it behind. When Ghost Taoist saw Lin Yu walking towards the depths of the demonic beast forest, he immediately wanted to stop him. But at the same time, Ho Ji and the fat guy stopped him. Your opponent is us. Then I'll deal with you Dozongs first. A great battle began behind him. Lin Yu was not in the mood to care. He had already guessed the positions of the others from the leaderboard in the sky. Currently, there are only people from Jiuxing Mountain in the core area. As for Tang Xin and Qing Qing, they seem to be moving towards the center, but they haven't arrived yet. The direction he was walking was really Jiuxing Mountain's route. Because of this, most of the demonic beasts and obstacles along the way were dealt with by the Raging Fire Temple. This made Lin Yu's speed extremely fast. He smoothly passed through the inner area and arrived at the center of the demonic beast forest. There, mournful roars sounded. Countless unknown, flying demonic beasts rushed out of the forest. Lin Yu smelled the stench of blood. Not far in front of him, Jiuxing Mountain was panting. "It's all settled?" he asked the Raging Fire Temple behind him. "Yes, senior brother, but we also lost 90% of our people. It's fine, as long as I can achieve my great Tao. This loss is nothing to the Raging Fire Temple." His eyes were filled with fatigue and greed. In front of him, he saw a huge cave. Around the cave were human-sized fangs. The entire cave was like the mouth of a giant beast. Now, only the skeleton was left, which formed the cave. At the entrance, Jiuxing Mountain sensed a strange aura. The aura of a demonic beast, and it's the purest demonic aura. Jiuxing Mountain was overjoyed, but just as he was about to step into the cave, he heard a clapping sound from behind. "Who is it?" Jiuxing Shan and the few remaining people from Raging Fire Temple turned their heads in surprise. They had sacrificed so many people to get here. What kind of person could follow them so closely? In the darkness, Lin Yu's figure slowly appeared. "It's you." Jiuxing Shan narrowed his eyes. In his heart, he was overwhelmed with shock. "Ghost Taoist can't stop you?" Lin Yu smiled faintly. "That's not it. It's just that you have a helper, and so do I." "Tisk," Jiuxing Shan laughed disdainfully, "with the trash you brought?" After listening, Lin Yu didn't have much hope for the people brought by Do Zong and Shun Yinran. However, they were now on the same side. We'll know in a while whether he's crippled or not. Lin Yu smiled faintly. At this time, of course, he had to protect his own people. "But you should worry about yourself now." Lin Yu stared at Jiuxing Shan like he was staring at his prey. "Eldest senior brother, he's here to steal your fortune." The people of the Raging Fire Temple immediately became vigilant. "You guys stall him here. I'll go in first." If Jiuxing Shan saw Lin Yu for the first time, he would definitely choose to kill him directly. However, Jiuxing Shan had fought with Lin Yu twice, and he didn't gain any advantage over him. Naturally, he wouldn't be entangled with Lin Yu at this time. The people of the Emperor's sect and the 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City are almost here. "Eldest senior brother, you go in. Leave Lin Yu to us." There were only 5 people left in the Raging Fire Temple. However, these 5 people were all the 9 sons of the Raging Fire Temple. The weakest among them was at the 7 Sons Transcendent Realm. Among them, 3 of them were at the 9 Sons Transcendent Realm. "Keep him alive. When I come out, I'll slowly play him to death." Jiuxing Shan instructed and went straight into the cave. However, after a few breaths, a dragon's roar came from behind. Jiuxing Shan's vision turned black. Lin Yu stopped him once again. "What?" Jiuxing Shan's eyes widened, and cold sweat appeared on his back instinctively. He turned his head and saw the 5 Raging Fire Temple's Transcendent Realm experts all lying on the ground. How is this possible? Jiuxing Shan swallowed his saliva, and Lin Yu slowly walked forward. "Wait." "Oh." Lin Yu looked at Jiuxing Shan playfully. "What are you waiting for? Do you have anyone else?" Jiuxing Shan's forehead was dripping with sweat. In the past, Lin Yu was a well-matched opponent in his eyes. However, the current Lin Yu is a terrifying existence comparable to his master, Yin Tian. "Senior brother Lin, you've misunderstood. If you want the things inside, you can go in and take them. I won't stop you." Lin Yu looked at him with a smile that wasn't a smile. "But I heard that the inheritance has chosen you." "There's no such thing." Jiuxing Shan's face twitched. "The fortune of heaven and earth belongs to the capable." "That's good." Lin Yu smiled faintly. "Get lost." Jiuxing Shan nodded without thinking. "I'll get lost now." He immediately left the area of the cave, and Lin Yu turned around and flew into the cave. At the same time, he couldn't help but cough out a mouthful of blood. Using the dragon roar of the dragon transformation scripture twice in a row was too much of a burden on his body. However, Lin Yu could only risk his injuries to kill the blazing 9 suns in an instant, and only then could he scare Jiu Xingshan away. In his current state, it would take him a lot of effort to take down Jiu Xingshan. Deep inside the cave, Lin Yu could hear the sound of a heartbeat. Judging from the speed and vibration of the heartbeat, it's definitely not human. Lin Yu is overjoyed. He judged that Jiu Xingshan had probably gone to get reinforcements. It will probably take a lot of time to settle the things here. I don't know if green grass and the rest can hold on. Lin Yu quickened his pace and flew through the rugged and winding passages. From the outside, the cave didn't look big, but inside, it was like a second world. There's no way out. In front of Lin Yu, there was only a wall. However, before he had time to think, he heard the sound of a snake crawling behind him. As soon as the sound appeared, a bloody mouth fell directly on top of Lin Yu's head. 16 Unfirm Realm. Lin Yu shrugged. He didn't expect the most powerful demonic beast to be here. He moved his feet and flew out a few feet. In the next moment, the ground where he was originally standing exploded. A 7-colored snake head rose from the ground. The snake's mouth even crushed a few stones. Obviously, if Lin Yu hadn't dodged just now, it would have been Lin Yu's flesh that would have been crushed. Lin Yu sized up the 7-colored snake. The snake's body was red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. These colors were like flowing lights on the snake's body that was more than 3 feet long. The 7-colored snake missed its attack, and its scarlet eyes seemed to be extremely unwilling. When the snake opened its mouth again, its body trembled, and 2 wings grew out of the snake's body. Winged demon python. Lin Yu thought it was just an ordinary demonic beast, but he didn't expect it to be a 7-colored winged python. Ancient demonic beasts, 2 wings are unfirm, 4 wings are supreme, and 6 wings are comparable to the laws. Let's see how many wings you have. Chapter 207. In the outside world, Jiu Xingshan had already met up with Ghost Daoist. Where are the people that Lin Yu brought? Jiu Xingshan's expression was very bad. They escaped. As Ghost Daoist spoke, he almost coughed up blood from the sweetness in his throat, but it was forcefully swallowed by him. He never thought that he would be injured by Do Zong fat boy. Idiot, you can't even deal with the group of cripples that Lin Yu brought? Ghost Daoist lowered his head. Big brother, did you get the inheritance? Lin Yu beat us to it. Jiu Xingshan's face was gloomy. Hearing this, Ghost Daoist and the others were all stunned. Only then did they notice that Jiu Xingshan came back alone. Where are the other senior brothers? Ghost Daoist had a bad premonition. Now is not the time to talk about this. Send the signal and get the Do Zone people to come over. Jiu Xingshan ordered again. Yes. Inside the demon cave, Lin Yu stepped on the 7-colored winged python's head. 2, 4, 6. Interesting, it's actually 8 wings. The law of 6 wings, but in the ancient books, I've never heard of an 8-winged python. Lin Yu was overjoyed. Black fire in his right hand and white ice in his left, he directly smashed down. True sun fire and ice soul-cold chi formed a yin and yang storm. Sometimes it was hot, and sometimes it was cold. It constantly bombarded the python's body. The 8-winged demon emperor python under his feet let out a shrill cry. It and Lin Yu fought a few rounds, but after being hit by Lin Yu's golden body, it could no longer withstand such a strong attack. Its huge body went limp and dispirited. Lin Yu landed on the ground and stared at the 8-winged demon emperor python's vertical pupils. Obey me or die. The demon emperor python already had intelligence, but before it could think, Lin Yu bit his finger and drew a blood talisman in the air. With a loud bang, it landed heavily on the snake's head. Roar! A shrill cry sounded, but soon, after the pain disappeared, The demon emperor python felt that there was an additional aura in its body where its beast pearl was. If this aura were to explode, it would instantly take its life. It's a pity that you've only grown 2 wings. It's far from enough. When you have 8 wings, that's when your ancient demonic beast bloodline will truly awaken. Lin Yu activated the blood sacrifice heart refinement. Follow me, and one day I'll let you have all 8 wings. What do you think? After hearing that, how could the demon emperor python not know that its life was in Lin Yu's hands? It nodded its head. Very good. It's a pity that I didn't bring Little Monkey with me. Otherwise, I could see who's stronger. The demon emperor python seemed to have understood Lin Yu's words. An instinctive competitive instinct of a demonic beast emerged. Its roar echoed out, as if it was shouting that it was stronger. Extermination is outside of the 3 realms and not within the 5 elements. But the demon emperor python only existed in ancient times. It has been extinct in the starry sky for a long time, and it is an 8-winged creature. Lin Yu stroked his chin. Which one of you is stronger? The demon emperor python roared again, interrupting Lin Yu's thoughts. Almost forgot about the important matter. Where's the thing you're guarding? Hearing that, the demon emperor python hesitated for a moment, but when Lin Yu glanced at it, it immediately slammed its head into the wall in front of it. Rumble. The path in front of them shattered, revealing a huge palace. Lin Yu flicked the dirt in front of his nose. Next time, remind me before doing such a big move. My face is covered in dirt. Taking a step forward, Lin Yu descended into the palace. The demon emperor python followed at the same time. But at this moment, outside the cave, everyone from the Raging Fire Temple and Dozong had gathered. The leader of the Dozong group was Qing. Lin Yu is inside. Since everyone is here, let's go in. Jiu Shan ordered. At the same time, there was a hint of ordering the Dozong. This made Qing very uncomfortable. Why did Lin Yu go in before you? Aren't you the only one who knows the location here? Qing looked at the dark cave and asked tentatively. Her tone was very cold. If Lin Yu was really alone inside, Qing hoped that he would obtain the inheritance and kill Jiu Shan's spirit. I'll explain this to you in the future. The situation is urgent now. If Lin Yu obtains the inheritance, the cooperation between the Raging Fire Temple and the Dozong will suffer a great loss. In that case, Raging Fire Temple, please lead the way. Jiu Shan's face darkened when he heard that. You don't believe me? Of course not. Since my master has promised the Flaming Sky Palace Master, we will naturally cooperate. It's just that the Dozong group is unfamiliar with this place, so we have to rely on you. Qing said matter-of-factly. If it was before, Jiu Shan would definitely rush in front and take all the benefits. But now that the Raging Fire Temple had lost too many people, their power in the demonic beast forest had weakened a lot. If they were to rush in front, once Lin Yu started killing, wouldn't the Raging Fire Temple be wiped out? Jiu Shan thought for a long time. How about this? I'll go in front with you. The Dozong and the Raging Fire Temple will enter together. If it was before, Qing might have agreed. But now, she had already discussed the alliance with Lin Yu beforehand. No, Qing said coldly. Damn it, is your Dozong playing tricks? Jiu Shan was furious. Today, Qing was very unusual. Even the people of the Dozong group couldn't understand what Qing meant. The current situation of the Raging Fire Temple was indeed not good. Logically speaking, Qing wouldn't make things difficult for them. In the cave, in front of Lin Yu was an ancient palace. This palace was filled with a cold and bloody smell, and there was no trace of blood in the surroundings. Lin Yu guessed that there was only one reason. The owner of this palace had killed countless people in his life. Now, the place had naturally formed a natural bloody and murderous aura. Interesting. Lin Yu slowed down his footsteps, as if he didn't know that the Dozong outside was stalling for time for him and was still arguing with the Raging Fire Temple. What is this? Lin Yu stepped on the steps of the palace. There was nothing around here. Only on this step, there was a huge stone chair. On the stone chair, There was blood and murderous aura. It was as if this was the source of everything. And on the stone chair, Lin Yu only saw a black feather. He reached out to take the feather, but before he could touch it, Lin Yu was hit by the snake head and flew to the side. What the hell? He touched his head and saw the demon emperor python blocking in front of him, shaking its head. Are you trying to tell me not to touch the feather? The demon emperor python nodded. Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. It's okay, let me try. He had already counted in his heart. Seeing this, the demon emperor python hesitated for a moment, but finally listened to Lin Yu and moved to the side. Lin Yu came to the front of the stone chair again. What you did makes sense. It's better to be cautious. With that said, Lin Yu didn't touch it with his bare hands. Instead, he cut his finger and a drop of blood essence fell on the feather. If evil things harm people, they will react to blood first. After Lin Yu said that, the moment the blood essence fell, it was immediately absorbed by the feather. But before Lin Yu could react, he saw a sudden suction force on the feather. Chapter 208. The suction force was like a hook, instantly sucking in Lin Yu and the Demon Emperor Python's blood. Roar! The Demon Emperor Python let out a horrified roar. Lin Yu finally understood that this thing was not that simple. The Demon Emperor Python did not seem to be guarding this place. Oh no! Lin Yu reacted extremely quickly. The moment the Nirvana fruit was activated, he sent the Demon Emperor Python flying out of the hall. But in the next moment, even the purifying power of the Nirvana fruit seemed unable to resist the suction force of the black feather. Its power is actually above the divine object fruit. Lin Yu was sure that this was not an inheritance that Jiuxing Shan could obtain. Thinking back to when the Imperial Preceptor announced that he had obtained the inheritance's recognition to the current situation of the Arch battle, there was a problem. There was a huge problem. Lin Yu activated his golden body, and the Buddha Karma body rose from the ground. He raised his hand and struck the black feather. Crack, crack, crack. In the outside world, Jiuxing Shan had no choice but to walk in front with the people from Raging Fire Temple, preparing to enter the cave. However, there was a loud boom. The ground began to shake. Earthquake! There's something below. As everyone exclaimed, Jiuxing Shan roared, Inheritance! It must be Lin Yu who touched my inheritance. But in the next moment, they were thrown out of the cave by a wave. When they came back to their senses, the entire cave was gone. Everyone stood firm and saw that where the cave was, there was only a bottomless pit left. Inheritance? Where did the inheritance go? Jiuxing Shan roared as he looked around. He heard another loud sound coming from the east. It's still in the demon beast forest. It just shifted its position. He stepped in the air. Ghost Owl, everyone follow me. We must retrieve the inheritance. At this moment, even Qing Qing's eyes were solemn. The inheritance can move? On the other side of the demon beast forest, the cave appeared again on an uninhabited hill. Lin Yu could not feel the changes in the outside world. Now that he had finally broken free from the shackles, his heart ached because the Nirvana fruit had been sucked away by the black feather. Throughout the millions of years of demon beast history, there has never been a power that can surpass a divine object. Unless this black feather came from millions of years ago, Lin Yu quickly made a judgment. Outside the hall was the Demon Emperor Python of the ancient demon clan, so it was reasonable that the things inside were even more ancient. Since you want it, I'll give it to you. Lin Yu formed a series of hand seals, and a blood symbol appeared in his hand. It fused into his blood and also fused into the Nirvana fruit in his stomach. It was also at this moment that the Nirvana fruit completely lost control of Lin Yu and flew towards the black feather. Lin Yu let out a long sigh. This is a huge gamble. He watched with his own eyes as the Nirvana fruit sank into the black feather. In the next moment, the Tao light turned into a black-red scarlet light. However, Lin Yu knew that Yu already had some sort of connection with him. Human, you have no right to have me. In the next moment, an ancient and ear-piercing voice came from the black feather. Looks like you've recovered quite a bit of your strength. Do you want to thank me for my divine item? Lin Yu smiled helplessly. Since he had already lost the nirvana fruit, there was nothing to worry about. What he wanted more now was this black feather. Not enough. Still not enough. The voice came again, as if it wanted to pierce Lin Yu's eardrums. The demon emperor python behind him was already hiding in a corner and trembling. It seemed to be instinctively afraid of the black feather. Is that so? Since it's not enough, how about I find you something delicious to eat? Lin Yu raised an eyebrow. The golden Tao light that originally belonged to the nirvana fruit had completely turned into a black-red light that flowed in this space. Lin Yu knew that at this moment, Heiyu already had the power to fight him. Back in the primordial continent, the Devil Master had only absorbed half a nirvana fruit and was already able to fight against the Grand Supreme Realm 7 Yi Demon Emperor. Now, Heiyu had absorbed a complete nirvana fruit. Go find it, Heiyu ordered. Lin Yu smiled faintly. In return, I want you to serve me as your master from today onwards. The moment his words fell, Heiyu seemed to have angered Heiyu. The black light in the hall surged toward him. After losing the nirvana fruit, Lin Yu already felt weak. Now he could only grit his teeth and circulate the great void 8 divisions to the maximum. A dragon's roar erupted and clashed with the black light. Rumble. The dragon's roar shattered, but the black light did not fare any better. Looks like you haven't fully grasped the nirvana fruit's power. Lin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. The ancestral dragon's aura. Heiyu suddenly retracted his aura. Lin Yu's eyes flashed. That's right, the demon emperor ancestral dragon. Are you afraid after seeing something more powerful than you? The ancestral dragon might not be the demon emperor. Heiyu muttered to himself. Just as he was about to attack again, he saw that Lin Yu had already disappeared from the hall. Under Lin Yu's body, the demon emperor python lifted him up. It shook its head in confusion. Lin Yu was connected to it through the blood sacrifice heart, so he quickly understood what it meant. You want to ask me why I didn't use the blood sacrifice heart to control Heiyu? Immediately, Lin Yu bounced up and down twice. The demon emperor python nodded. The time isn't right. I guess that a bigger force already knows about this thing, so they manipulated the prince's battle. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Since they want to use the Outlanders' lives to awaken this thing, I'll use their lives to let this thing eat its fill. He was sure that Jiuxing Mountain's group was just a chess piece. A chess piece to awaken Heiyu. But this time, Lin Yu beat him to it. If not for this, Heiyu would have swallowed Jiuxing Mountain by now. Lin Yu dodged the black light while looking for an exit. But at this time, Jiuxing Mountain could not find Lin Yu in the cave. They had already surrounded Dozong and Shun Yinran's group. Damn it! Damn it! Where is Lin Yu? Jiuxing Mountain roared at Shun Yinran. The later he found Lin Yu, the further away his inheritance would be. This was his chance to soar into the sky. But just now it was right in front of him, but Lin Yu snatched it away. Young master, you will avenge us. Shun Yinran's mouth was bleeding. She was obviously injured. Behind her, the people from the low-level sects, Dozong, and the others were no match for Jiuxing Mountain. Now, they were all injured and lying on the ground. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Hit me. Guo Daozi kicked the fat guy in the stomach. The latter flew out and smashed into a tree, spitting out blood. Let her go. How could Cao Lu care about her senior brother? Seeing that Shun Yinran was captured by Jiuxing Mountain, she rushed forward like crazy. Don't. Before Shun Yinran could stop her, an icicle had already pierced Cao Lu's shoulder. If he had not dodged, the icicle would have hit his chest. You overestimate yourself. Cao Lu fell at his feet. Jiuxing Mountain stepped on his face and spat. Other than Lin Yu, I don't care about any of you. Qing Qing and the others behind him frowned. Where did Lin Yu go? If young Master Lin doesn't appear, it's too risky for me to fall out with Jiuxing Mountain. Qing Qing was thinking about whether to save Lin Yu's people. But Jiuxing Mountain had already sent a message to threaten Lin Yu. His voice echoed in half of the demon beast forest. Lin Yu bastard, come out. If you don't come out, everyone you brought will die today. After his voice fell, in the sky of the demon beast forest. Suddenly, a stream of fire cut through the sky. Chapter 209. That's a meteor. Lin Yu is there. Everyone looked in the direction of the fire. Raging Fire Temple, Emperor Sect, follow me to capture Lin Yu. Jiao Xing ordered. Qing Qing, are we going? Behind Qing Qing, someone from Emperor Sect asked. In front of him, Qing Qing narrowed her eyes as she recognized the meteor. Jiao Xingshan's inheritance was stolen by Lin Yu, so he has lost his judgment. That's clearly a meteor from Dragon Sealing City. She looked at the people behind her and whispered, let's go and take a look. Yes. Raging Fire Temple brought Dozong, Shen Yanran, and the others. Emperor Sect followed closely behind and quickly approached the fire. Below the meteor, Tang Xan frowned as she sensed the approaching aura. Senior sister, what we're doing is equivalent to provoking Raging Fire Temple and Emperor Sect. Will we be in danger? Behind her, the people from Dragon Sealing City had worried expressions. They didn't understand why Tang Xian would fire the meteor after hearing Jiao Xingshan's words to lure Lin Yu out. That was the signal flare used by Dragon Sealing City for emergency communication. Since I've agreed to cooperate with Lin Yu, I can't just watch his people die in the hands of Raging Fire Temple. Tang Xian's eyes were filled with determination. Have you arranged it? Yes, but I don't know if it can stop them. As soon as he said that, a deafening explosion came from the south. They're here. Tang Xian clenched her right hand, and a jade bracelet emitted a bright light. She was ready to fight. Damn it, how dare you trick me? Amidst the explosion, the figures of Raging Fire Temple slowly appeared, along with Jiao Xingshan's furious eyes. Why are they from Dragon Sealing City? Where's Lin Yu? Tang Xian clenched her teeth. The people behind her also felt that something was wrong. How could the carefully arranged trap only hurt a few people, especially Jiao Xingshan, who wasn't even injured? He's not here, Tang Xian said coldly. I remember now. That's not Lin Yu's thing, but your signal flare. Jiao Xingshan regained some of his senses and raised his head to look at the gradually disappearing meteors. You intentionally lured me here and buried these trashy array formations. 9 luminaries, Dragon Sealing City. Are you looking for death? As his voice fell, the murderous intent of the people behind him surged. It's a misunderstanding. Behind Tang Xian, a man immediately stepped forward. We made a mistake. We didn't expect to disturb the Raging Fire Temple and the Emperor Sect. We're sorry. It's not good. But before he could finish speaking, he saw Jiao Xingshan's palm strike coming at him. With a rumble, that person was directly sent flying backward, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Gurang! Tang Xian was shocked. She rushed forward and saw that although Gurang was still alive, all the meridians in his body had been shattered. He would not be able to cultivate for the rest of his life. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me? Jiao Xingshan didn't even put him in his eyes. Instead, he stared at Tang Xian. Don't play tricks in front of me. Where's Lin Yu? If you want to find young Master Lin, you'll have to go through us first. Tang Xian helped Gurang up. The rest immediately carried him to the back. She took a step forward. Jiao Xingshan, if you let young Master Lin's people go, he might let bygones be bygones. When Jiao Xingshan heard Lin Yu's name, his face turned red with anger. I thought that only the few cripples at the back were brought by Lin Yu. It turns out that the 9 luminaries Dragon Sealed City has also allied with Lin Yu. Interesting. A declining sect wants to make a comeback in front of my Raging Fire Temple? What a joke. He raised his right hand and ordered, take down this group of people for me. With that, the people from the 9 luminaries Dragon Sealed City were terrified. They had lost many people in the continuous hunting of demonic beasts. Now that they had to face the encirclement of 2 high-ranking sects, they had no chance of winning. Tang Xian, you're too reckless. Senior brother Jiao Xingshan, we surrender. Before the fight even began, there were already a few people kneeling before the Raging Fire Temple. You, Tang Xian's fair face was filled with anger. No matter what, we're still a high-ranking sect. Where's your dignity? Can dignity feed you? That's right. What alliance with Lin Yu? Look at the situation now. Lin Yu is hiding and doesn't dare to meet anyone. His people are either dead or injured. But you, Tang Xian, still foolishly believed him and helped him stall for time. Now you've dragged us into this. Ghost Taoist grinned. His face was filled with ridicule. As expected of the people of the dragon-sealed city. You know when to yield. He glanced at Jiao Xingshan. After the latter nodded, Ghost Taoist smiled again. Since you're willing to surrender, my raging fire temple will give you a chance. With that, he opened his legs. Crawl onto my crotch and you won't have to die today. The rest will be buried with the people Lin Yu brought. I'll see who in the outer region dares to help him in the future. Those few people's faces paled, immediately losing all color. You're going too far. Someone was furious. When he wanted to retreat, he saw Ghost Taoist flying out 2 yellow talismans. With a whoosh, they appeared in front of him. Be careful. That person was only in the one-sun transcendent realm. How could he react in time? Only Tang Xian was extremely fast. She blocked in front of him. With a flick of the jade bracelet on her right hand, an ice wall instantly formed. The first yellow talisman hit the ice wall and immediately shattered. Fake. Tang Xian didn't hear the sound of the explosion, but when the ice wall dissipated, the second talisman fell. Rumble. He had hit. Ghost Taoist clapped his hands and cheered. He constantly let out a sinister laugh. Everyone who heard it, especially Shan Yinran and the others, felt a chill run down their backs. They felt extremely terrified. Puff! Tang Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. This time, she knew that she had fallen into a trap. You knew that I would save them. Are you targeting me? She stared at Jiao Xingshan and Ghost Taoist. The other party had long been prepared to scheme against her. At this time, the person behind her looked like he had just survived a disaster. In fact, his back was already covered in cold sweat. Senior sister, are you okay? He trembled as he asked. However, he heard laughter immediately coming from the front. Jiao Xingshan looked at him playfully. Your senior sister can't take it anymore. Why aren't you coming over? If you hesitate any longer, I will regret it. When that person heard it, his mind went blank. He couldn't care about anything else. He had already knelt in front of Ghost Taoist. Seeing this, Tang Xian's face became even paler. She couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Such a person dares to go against my raging fire temple? Jiao Xingshan watched the group of people go over and turned to Tang Xian. Dragon Sealing City has no hope except for you. Tang Xian, I have said it before. Come and be my woman, but you refused. Bah! Tang Xian revolved her cultivation. Although she was injured, she was still in the invincible realm. She still had the strength to fight. But what she lost now was the morale of her troops. Jiao Xingshan hadn't really made a move, but her people had already surrendered. In your dreams, her figure disappeared. When she appeared, she was already behind Jiao Xingshan. The jade bracelet on her right hand erupted with a few feet of cold air. She directly punched. Too slow. Jiao Xingshan revealed a mocking expression. He casually raised his hand and met Tang Xian's cold air head-on. Chapter 210. With the ice and fire technique working together, a terrifying cold and hot storm descended. Tang Xian couldn't hold on for long and was forced to retreat. As expected, senior sister Tang Xian can't beat Jiao Xingshan. We were right. The people who had just crawled under Ghost Taoist immediately believed in their own decision. But in the next moment, when they were unprepared, they saw a cold light slash across their throats. The 3 of them immediately covered their necks, but they couldn't feel anything. They could only feel their blood and vitality flowing away. Your final value is to distract Tang Xian again. Ghost Taoist swung the slender dagger in his hand and smiled coldly. At the same time, he shouted at Tang Xian, Tang Xian, I'll return these 3 corpses to Dragon Sealing City. Tang Xian, who had already retreated with injuries, suddenly saw the corpses of her own people and her eyes widened. Raging Fire Temple. Looks like you're easier to deal with than I thought. But in that split second, when she was distracted, a palm strike that was a combination of ice and fire hit her head directly. Since you're not willing to submit to me, then die. Jiao Shan's killing intense sword. Stop. In the distance, Qing suddenly teleported over. The azure sword in her hand pierced towards Jiao Shan. I already guessed that you had a problem. From Qing's strange actions a few hours ago, Jiao Shan seemed to be on guard against her. His palm instantly changed direction and turned towards Qing. With a boom, Qing blocked with her sword. But the ice and fire technique, combined with the cold and fire, was too powerful, causing Qing to be forced back. I'll deal with you first. Jiao Shan raised his hand again and hit Tang Xian. But at this moment, the same palm appeared behind Tang Xian and collided with Jiao Shan. Bang! Jiao Shan's eyes widened. The ice and fire technique was invincible in this demon beast forest. But at this moment, he felt his power being reflected back. Tang Xian couldn't have this kind of power. Jiao Shan had a bad feeling and immediately retreated. At the same time, 2 rays of black and white light hit his chest. You're finally here. Jiao Shan spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with fear. This sudden change immediately made everyone's heart tighten. Lin Yu. Sir Lin. Beside Tang Xian stood a young man. How dare you start a war with them when I'm not around? Lin Yu didn't seem to care about the gazes on him. Instead, he turned to the injured Tang Xian and said with a smile. The latter did not know why, but the moment Lin Yu appeared, his tense heart relaxed. It's all to buy time for you. Tang Xian coughed. Lin Yu knew that there were still things to solve, so he didn't say anything more. When he looked to the other side, Jiao Shan had already grabbed Shen Yinran's neck. Lin Yu, you finally appeared. Although his tone was agitated, everyone could tell that Jiao Shan seemed to be extremely afraid of Lin Yu. If not for this, Jiao Shan would not have immediately captured Shen Yinran. From the looks of it, he could only threaten Lin Yu. You were waiting for me? Lin Yu smiled. Nonsense. Give me back my inheritance. Inheritance, Lin Yu pondered for a moment, thinking about how to bring up Hey Yu. Damn it, don't play tricks. Jiao Shan was too afraid of Lin Yu and shouted sternly. At the same time, he tore off the clothes on Shen Yinran's shoulder. Shen Yinran exclaimed, revealing her snow-white left shoulder and arm. If you hesitate any longer, I'll tear off her clothes as well. Jiao Shan roared. Sir, Shen Yinran's beautiful eyes were filled with tears, but she did not make a sound. Now, Lin Yu was alone, surrounded by Raging Fire Temple and Emperor's Sect. Don't. Leave those places for me to see alone. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. Have you never thought of fighting with me and then killing me to get the inheritance? Jiao Shan's heart tightened. After fighting with Lin Yu 3 times, he could feel that Lin Yu was getting stronger each time. Jiao Shan did not even have the courage to fight with such a person. What he wanted now was to obtain the inheritance. If you say another word, I'll immediately strip off your woman's clothes. Jiao Shan warned Lin Yu again. The latter shrugged. All right, I'll bring you there. After saying that, he glanced at Jiao Shan again. Oh right, if you hurt her again, I'll bury everyone in Raging Fire Temple. Lin Yu's casual gaze made everyone, including Jiao Shan, not dare to speak. It was as if he had long viewed human lives as ants, killing people like flies. Jiao Shan swallowed his saliva. Seeing Lin Yu walking towards a certain place, he did not dare to say anything and followed. Senior sister, what about us? Behind Qing, a man in his early 20s asked, Mu Jiujian, between Jiao Shan and Sir Lin, who do you think is stronger? The man looked at Lin Yu's back with deep eyes. Lin Yu seems to be only in the transcendent realm, but the aura he exuded when he made his move was much stronger than Jiao Shan. Qing nodded. She obviously agreed with Mu Jiujin's point of view. However, because of this, she was even more confused. He clearly had the chance to take down Jiuxingshan, but why didn't he do so? Instead, he brought so many people to the inheritance. Qing couldn't figure it out, but she could only follow behind. Cave. Soon, Jiuxingshan saw the cave that looked like the beast's fangs again. However, they couldn't sense the aura of a slumbering person in the cave. It was He Yu's aura. Your inheritance is inside. I can't take it away. If you want it, go ahead. Lin Yu smiled lightly. What he said was the truth. He originally wanted to lure He Yu out and start a massacre. At the same time, he wanted to create a commotion and lure out the person who was using them as chess pieces. Unfortunately, after he left, he realized that there was a barrier in the cave. Only he and the Demon Emperor Python could come out. Now, the Demon Emperor Python was hiding in his storage ring. However, He Yu was still trapped in the cave. Scary things have to be released. Only then will it be fun. Lin Yu judged that He Yu's strength had to be at least twice as strong to break through the barrier. This required food. You guys wait for me here. Jiuxingshan's gaze fell on Lin Yu. Ghost Owl, come and replace me. Ghost Owl grabbed Shen Yinran's neck. Looking at her snow-white skin, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. What a rare beauty. He thought that after Jiuxingshan obtained the inheritance and killed Lin Yu, he must find a chance to snatch this little beauty. Why can't you take the inheritance? Jiuxingshan came to Lin Yu's side. His tone was vigilant. He even kept a distance from Lin Yu. Because it belongs to you. Lin Yu smiled faintly. There was no need for further explanation. With just this sentence, Jiuxingshan laughed. Sure enough, I am the one destined. Lin Yu, wait for me to come out and fight with you. Why not now? Lin Yu glanced at him. Jiuxingshan's face sank. I'm not confident now. After saying that, he didn't want to wait any longer and entered the cave. Lin Yu shrugged. What I mean is if you don't fight now, you won't have another chance. The moment his voice fell, an incomparably mournful scream immediately resounded in the demon cave. Chapter 211. His voice reverberated in the air, and everyone jumped in fright. That's Jiuxingshan's voice. Why is he screaming so miserably? He seems to be living a life worse than death. But after a while, the voice stopped. Lin Yu knew that there was nothing left of him. Eldest senior brother. Ghost Daoist's whole body trembled as he pointed at Lin Yu. What's inside? Lin Yu looked over. You're hurting her. Ghost Daoist was now trembling, and his other hand that was holding Shun Yinran couldn't help but tighten. But he didn't care about that now. Damn it, I'm asking you a question. Ghost Daoist was trembling. Is eldest senior brother dead? At the same time, above the demon beast forest, Yin Tian was still looking forward to the news of Jiuxingshan's appearance. On the current ranking, Jiuxingshan had already surpassed Lin Yu's 300 points and obtained 470 points. He was in first place. Imperial Preceptor, it's about time. This prince's battle is really interesting. Yin Tian smiled confidently, as if he could already see the birth of the prince and the glorious future of the Raging Fire Temple. However, Li Ye's old eyes flashed with an undetectable light. Strange, could it be that Jiuxingshan didn't find the demon cave at all? The moment he thought in his heart, he saw Jiuxingshan's name on the ranking list suddenly disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was disappearing stroke by stroke, as if this person was gradually erased from the demon beast forest. What do you mean? Yin Tian immediately turned his head. Imperial Preceptor, where did Jiuxingshan's first place fall to? Li narrowed his eyes and shook his head. That's not a drop in the ranking. That's because he's dead. Impossible. Yin Tian's old eyes instantly turned red. Just now, he was still calculating the future of the Raging Fire Temple after the prince appeared. But not long after he was gone, the ranking list has locked onto the aura of all the humans in the Demon Beast Forest. There's no mistake. Jiuxingshan's aura no longer exists in the Demon Beast Forest. Li, what nonsense are you talking about? Yin Tian completely turned hostile. However, at the same time his voice fell, the wind and clouds in the sky began to churn. A crack suddenly appeared in the originally clear sky. It was as if the sky had been torn apart. Everyone in Jixiao Library looked up into the sky. In the next moment, they saw two figures slowly descending from the torn sky. Is it finally here? Li Ye's face was gloomy, but there was more helplessness in his expression. How is it? The two people were a man and a woman, both middle-aged. At this moment, the man looked down at the demonic beast forest and asked Li Yi in a cold voice. That's the law. One in the law realm and one in the Grand Supreme realm, 800 Tao paths. Since when did our outer realm have such a powerful almighty? When Li Yi heard this, not only did he not get angry because of the other party's indifference and rudeness, he even half knelt down. The progress is going well. He should have been awakened by now. When the spectators from the outer realm saw this scene, they were all shocked. The Imperial Preceptor was a lofty existence in the outer realm. But now, after seeing those two people, he was humbly kneeling down. Very good. The woman spoke, but she didn't look at Li Yi at all. TSK, can you feel it? The woman took a step forward and appeared above the demonic beast forest, looking down. The man next to her shook his head. No, TSK. If that thing is really as powerful as you said, you should be able to wake up after getting some food. The woman's name was TSK. At this moment, she had been staring at the demonic beast forest for a long time. The moment her divine sense spread out, it seemed to envelop the entire demonic beast forest. However, after retracting her divine sense, her eyes slowly turned serious. It's a little strange. If you and I can't take him down, we need to send a voice transmission to my two brothers. The man called Tisk smiled disdainfully. Is there need to be so cautious about something from the outer realm? No. TSK shook his head. When I discovered it, I was sure that thing didn't belong to the outer realm. In fact what? In fact, it didn't even belong to the Emperor Starfield. Otherwise, there would be no need to be so cautious and let the people from the outer realm be the scapegoat to awaken that thing. Hearing this, TSK frowned. No one could hear their conversation. However, they were in the air in front, and the humble reaction of the Imperial Preceptor behind them had already made the people from the outer realm not dare to say a word. Even Yin Tian, who had just flown into a rage over Jiao Xingshan's death, did not dare to make a sound now. That man, Grand Supreme Realm, and the woman, First Heaven of the Law Realm, Inner Realm, or a core person, he thought in his heart, and his gaze fell on Li Yi. There was also Xiao Mo and Shinsui. The two of them were the same as him, and their expressions were somewhat solemn. This was the existence of the inner realm, or even the core. The moment they appeared, these top figures from the outer realm did not even dare to say a word. At this moment, below the demonic beast forest, Ghost Taoist was shocked and was about to run away with Shen Yinran. Jiao Xingshan was dead, and he knew that it was more dangerous to stay here. Even Jiao Xingshan was so afraid of Lin Yu. With Emperor Zong and Tang Xian, he had no chance of winning. Why not take the little beauty, Shen Yinran, away and have some fun? However, the moment Ghost Taoist was about to leave, before he could react, his vision turned black. A slap directly pressed against his face. The speed was so fast that it surpassed everyone Ghost Taoist had ever seen in his life. Damn it. He wanted to resist, but the strength of this slap was too strong, and it directly caused his entire body to lean back. With a boom, the back of his head hit the ground. Young master. Shen Yinran's eyes were red, but when her willowy waist was held by Lin Yu, her heart was immediately filled with a sense of security. And one after another, Ghost Taoist fell. Lin Yu raised his foot, and the yin-yang glory smashed down directly. Talisman. Ghost Taoist fell to the ground, and before he could get up, his hands formed seals and instantly released a few talismans. However, Lin Yu was even faster, and the soles of his feet were already on Ghost Taoist's face, and they were directly swept up. Ah! A shrill cry of pain sounded again. However, this time it was not Jiuxing Shan, but Ghost Daoist. The talismans floated to the ground, and one of them was casually flung away by Lin Yu, flying into the distance and exploding. The people of Raging Fire Temple originally wanted to charge forward, but after seeing Lin Yu kill Ghost Daoist in one move, they began to flee in all directions. Since you chose to be my enemy from the beginning, don't leave now. Lin Yu raised his foot and directly kicked Ghost Daoist into the cave. At the same time, a seven-colored light soared into the sky from his storage ring. Throw all of them in. His tone was cold. Since he had already lured them over, there was no need to waste any more time. The eight-winged demon emperor python roared, and a terrifying pressure immediately spread out. Great demon. An invincible stage, great demon. The people of Raging Fire Temple fled in fear. It was not that they had never fought a first or second invincible stage demonic beast. However, the eight-winged demon emperor python gave them the feeling that it was not an ordinary demonic beast. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.